Get that Bojangles tailgate special and go. It's Bo time.
Homeowners, listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Hey, it's Dennis Cox for Loan Pronto. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted to lows we haven't seen in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner with a 4.99% APR. Whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in the process with another lender, stop now and call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. On approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free. Plus, pay nothing for 24 months. Hurry, sale ends September 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90Nation or at windownation.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. That heavy rain increasing from south to north across our area as we head through the afternoon. Of course, today is a WRAL weather alert day. Keep it tuned here and to WRAL TV as we have the potential for some flooding. We have a flood watch and a level 1 risk for severe storms. That risk is for isolated tornadoes from the Triangle area eastward. Our high this afternoon, just 72.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 242 points today to 41,636. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities. This hour of the drive brought to you by Zero Res. Kick football season off with a deal this month from Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpets clean starting at $119 and 25% off your air duct cleaning. ZeroResRaleigh.com. Again, that is ZeroResRaleigh.com.
O'Connell with 1 second, left wing 3 on the way, banks it in! He got it! I don't believe it!
Jeremy backs out, has Roberts on him, into the paint, rises up, big time!
Young throws, he's got Tommy, near side 2-1, touchdown Carolina!
To Ryan, catch and shoot 3, right wing, he did it again! Ryan has 27!
Anderson makes a save, and it's kept out by Martin! What a save! Martin just robbed
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. It is a Monday. It is a Reaction Monday. We'll have a Monday sound off where we open up the phone lines for you in about a half hour at 3:30. But, Panther fans, if you haven't been paying attention this weekend, if you haven't been paying attention this afternoon, you might want to sit down. Got some news to tell. Bryce Young has been benched. Andy Dalton taking over as quarterback 1 for the Carolina Panthers. Your Carolina Panthers.
You said Panthers fans, hey, might need to sit down for this. I think a lot of them jumped out of their chairs celebrating based off all the comments that we've seen since this season.
Mm-hmm. No, it's fair, and I mean, if you watched the post-game press conference yesterday, you would have thought you were in for at least another couple of weeks even.
You would think.
Dave Canales whiplash going as far from, he is our quarterback, Bryce Young is our guy. Seemed like every player, even the ones that were yelling at him on the sideline in the post-game press conference, were saying Bryce Young was the guy moving forward. And then, sure enough, today he's no longer the guy moving forward. Let's go ahead and play some of the sound. I believe this is Adam Thielen backing up his guy. Or whoever else we have. Who do we have lined up?
Like I said, I love Bryce to death, man. He works his butt off. He's a great player. This is not a Bryce Young issue. This is a offensive team issue. We are all in this together. I know football that's why I love this game with everything I have, because it is the greatest team game, because it's not about an individual. It's not basketball where you can have one or two good players and have success. In this league, in this game, you have to have 11 guys on the same page to have individual success. So there is no individual on this offense that is to blame. It's a collective thing, and I'm excited about where we can go, but we need to figure out a way to have urgency to get that done.
I think they're actually testing that. First of all, I did not expect Bryce Young to be benched. I don't think he should be benched for a bunch of reasons, but they're putting in Andy Dalton, I believe, for this reason. They need to see what else is broken. They need to remove Bryce Young from the equation and see if the receivers actually aren't getting open or if Bryce Young just couldn't find them. They need to see if the edge rushers are actually beating the tackles or if Bryce Young's just holding on to it too long and having bad pocket presence and running into sacks. They need to see if the defense actually has taken a big step back from last year, or if all of the 3-and-outs caused by their quarterback and turnovers are simply putting their defense in a situation that they can't overcome. They're going to remove Bryce from the equation and put in Andy Dalton, and if everything changes, then maybe their evaluations were right about the rest of the team. So it's almost like they're saying the exact opposite of what Adam Thielen said. This isn't a one-guy thing. They're like, well, actually, there's only one way to tell this isn't a one-guy thing, and that's if we remove the one guy from the process. Bryce Young did not play well. Let's just call a spade a spade. Not going to sit here and go, well, if the first play were a little different, then maybe this.
So bad.
He did not play well. And this isn't full defending him, but I do think it's fair to tell both sides of the story. Getting benched after 18 starts with 3 different head coaches, 5 play caller changes, and a consensus well below average supporting cast is not the fairest shake a quarterback has ever gotten. I went and looked it up. Jamarcus Russell got 25 starts deep into his 3rd year in the NFL. This is not the fairest shake a quarterback has ever gotten. That's not to say that the benching isn't earned. That's not to say that a objective and fair mind couldn't watch the games and say, Bryce needs to sit down. The Bryce Young stuff is disheartening. And you risk losing the locker room. You risk losing the confidence in the coaching staff if you don't either get him to improve in a big way or make a change. Right? We all expected a better version of Bryce this year. I said it a few times this offseason. I think even if he played the exact same level of football he played last year, it would appear as if he got a lot better simply because the supporting cast around him is better. You can look at the advanced analytics. The offensive line has been blocking better this year than last year. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to look at or like a 40-year scout to look at the pass catchers and say they're more talented this year than last year. And somehow he took a step back. Right? And
steps back.
It almost feels like 3 and 4 steps back, and that's with the advantage of having a better supporting cast. So maybe it's 5 steps back, and that's disheartening. Regardless of situation, that's hard to watch. It's not just that he is struggling this year. It's that if you put on some of the film last year when he was struggling, it looks like a better quarterback. So I understand why someone intelligent, who understands ball, might look at that and go, oh, he's got to get benched. And that's what the Panthers did. They looked at him and said, he's got to get benched. But
go on.
I can't help but think, what's Andy Dalton doing for you? Do you really think you're going to compete for a playoff situation here? The Saints might be the best team in the NFL through 2 games.
Yeah.
Granted, you helped them with your defense.
Well, there's that.
But
hey, they backed it up against Dallas too.
Heck yeah! Do not. I'm literally saying Derek Carr might be the MVP through 2 games. They're in your division. Tampa's looked good. Baker Mayfield. We'll see what the Falcons do tonight. But what do you think you're going after?
Thinking actually, you're probably looking for an honest review of the guys that you brought in,
and there's something to be said for that. There is 100% something to be said for that. I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here a little bit because I completely get the argument that you just need to get the player who is playing bad off the field. And as a coach, that's got to be somewhere in your DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back. I don't know if there's like a Hippocratic oath for coaches, like the Coachophatic oath, where you say, I vow to play the player that gives me the best chance to win, and like before you coach your first AAU game, you gotta make those commitments. But you gave up a ridiculous amount for Bryce Young. Mm-hmm. Now would be a very, very mean time for someone sitting in the chair I'm sitting in to go back and list all of the players and picks that you gave up for Bryce Young, who is now your backup a season and 2 games into his career. You gave up so much. I just wonder if absolutely tanking his confidence. And by the way, I don't think you can go back to him realistically later in the year unless Andy Dalton gets hurt.
In that case, you might be just going, all right, Jack Plummer.
I don't know, and I can't think of really any situation where the benching to get your confidence back up has ever worked. So it's, go take a break, go relax. It's just doesn't really work. So this, to me, is Dave Canales saying, I'm all the way out.
I think it's an organizational decision done.
I hope it's a Dave Canales decision.
I mean, I hope it is too, but Dave Canales is saying, I'm benching this guy. Just an FYI.
Dave Canales sold us the dream that he took this job in large part because he was excited to work with Bryce Young. 2 games in, that's completely switched. Does that strike you as reactionary? Maybe. Does that strike you as somebody who understands he might be coaching for the least patient owner in the NFL? And 2 games in, granted, 2 horrendous games, 73-13 being outscored, maybe he's already thinking about job preserving. Maybe he's already thinking about, I need a reason for them to believe in me for next year. The last point, and I don't want to sound like I'm defending Bryce, but I do want to give the full rundown here, both sides of the story. He's not the one that got beat by Quentin Johnston on the deep ball. He's not the one that got beat by Rashid Shaheed on the first drive of the entire season. He's not the one that routinely had big plays, both offensive and defense, and big plays on offense might be generous, but big plays on defense and positive plays on offense called back for penalties. There's a lot that's wrong with this roster beyond the quarterback. But now we're going to see how much of it that was wrong was because of the quarterback, because they're putting in Andy Dalton, Andy Dalton, for all of his I would say locker room goodness, seems like a great guy. Stuck around in the league as a backup largely because he embraces his role. He is, to me, like the definition of a replacement level quarterback. If you put in your quarterback and then you put in Andy Dalton, you will know exactly how above or below average your quarterback is. Because Andy Dalton is right there in the middle. Right? If you win 8 games with your quarterback, you put in Andy Dalton and win 6, boom, your quarterback is 2 games above a replacement level. So if you think Bryce is significantly below what an average quarterback in the NFL is, Andy Dalton's going to look pretty darn good by comparison. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By the way, 3:30, we're opening up the phone lines for your sound off. We call it Monday Sound Off, where you can sound off on anything you want. I expect quite a bit of Panthers fans sounding off. 3:30 will be the time for that, so have your dialing fingers ready. When we come back, Panthers aren't the only team with some quarterback decisions looming. NC State got the win. lost their starting quarterback to injury, Grayson McCall. We break down that situation coming up next.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
I am shocked that Dave Canales and the Panthers are benching Bryce Young. All offseason, we heard from Dave Canales that Bryce Young was a big reason he took the job. 2 games in, he's all the way out. I don't see how you go back from this. This isn't about building up Bryce Young's confidence in the background. This is about moving on and finding another quarterback for the future.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Tar Heel Basement Systems. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at tarheelbasementsystems.com.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
O'Reilly Auto Parts offers more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also test your battery, install your new wiper blades, and even diagnose your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan for free. For the best service, advice, auto parts, and accessories, stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Whispering Pines on Highway 22 next to Domino's.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Kamala Harris. Here's a few things I believe. Middle-class families, like the one I grew up in, they want common sense solutions. You want lower prices and lower taxes. I believe you want to just not get by, but you want to get ahead. We must create an opportunity economy where everyone has a chance to get a car loan, buy a home, start a business. And I believe we can make that happen.
Kamala Harris's plan? Bring down costs by cracking down on corporate price gougers. Make homeownership more affordable for families. A middle-class tax cut for 100 million Americans. And make sure billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share so you can keep more of the money you've earned.
Instead of being focused on the politics of the past, we need to be thinking about the future and how we make it better for families like yours. I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
At the Home Depot, we know you can't control everything, like when your guests arrive too early for Saturday college football. But you can control your grill. With the Traeger Timberline XL, you can watch the game, not the grill. Monitor your football feast from anywhere using the Traeger app. With the Timberline XL, you can bake, smoke, sear, fry, and saute. That's Desmond Howard level versatility.
Huddle up, the food's done.
Defend your game time with Traeger and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Shotgun set, 2nd and goal from the 1. Snap Bailey, design QB run. He works off the right side of the line, leans in, touchdown, NC State. 29-20, Wolfpack in command.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By the way, we see the YouTube live stream chat lighting up with Panthers takes. Again, we want to hear from you, but we're gonna hold back on the conversation involving all of your input until 3:30. 3:30, we're opening up the phone lines for a Monday sound off. Maybe we'll read a few comments or so there as well.
And feel free to sound off on this next conversation we have.
That's the beauty of Monday sound off is
right.
You can get a lot of things off your chest. You can get a lot of venting accomplished. NC State underwhelmed for a third straight game. Particularly starting slow against an inferior opponent again is going to be frustrating. Part of the Tennessee deal, you can write off as Tennessee is very, 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 very good.
Mm-hmm.
The Western Carolina-Louisiana Tech game, starting that slow and having to storm up from behind or storm up from alongside is going to be frustrating. Now, should we start with the obligatory? The ACC is still out there. The conference is still available mathematically.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you have all of that.
It's all there.
You still have your entire ACC schedule ahead of you. But man, don't those 3 games start like it's starting to make me feel like every time I point out that the ACC goals are still on the table, it feels like I might be setting up a fan base for a painful fall.
Huh.
Just reminding you, like, oh, all your lofty goals are still available. And that's like getting you excited for them when through your first 3 games, there's not many reasons to expect those goals to be achieved. This game, and I said it on Friday, was all about Grayson McCall. It was all about your quarterback. It was all about getting him back on track. I'll use a stat for you, and I saw this earlier today. There are only 4 quarterbacks in the history of college football. 4. That have finished the year with a 200-plus passer rating, over 200 for an entire season. It's Mac Jones when they won the national championship at Alabama. It's Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow when they won the Heisman Trophy. And it's Grayson McCall in 2021 at Coastal Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So I believed this game against Louisiana Tech was all about finding out how to get him back to 2021 levels. The injury obviously upended that. And it's already been announced by Dave Doran that while Grayson McCall is day-to-day, CJ Bailey, the true freshman, will start against Clemson on Saturday.
Yeah, CJ will start the game, and it's his team. And like I said, we'll take it one day at a time with Grayson. And when he's ready to play, he'll be back. And, it's all hands on deck.
And suddenly, that's what everything in this program is about. Right? I was watching the State game and taking notes, and I'm writing down, like, got to be able to fix the slow start, writing down some of the defensive flaws that they still haven't quite, clogged the leak. Jordan Waters struggling in the running game. Like, I'm writing all of this down, and then as soon as CJ Bailey takes over, it all falls into the background, and getting CJ Bailey ready to play against Clemson this weekend is all hands on deck. That's what everything is about. You don't have a chance against Clemson if Concepcion and Jolie and Rogers and even someone like Dakari Collins and even someone like Wesley Grimes and maybe even some of the freshmen, if they can't impact the game and all of those guys play a dependent position, they can't catch passes that aren't thrown to them. That is dependent on CJ Bailey. CJ Bailey is going to be making his first career start. Not just on the road, not just on the road in an ACC conference game, not just on the road in an ACC conference opener, but at Clemson in Death Valley on the road.
Yay.
Talk about being tossed into the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this becomes about now. And I give him credit, right? I actually kind of love the way his game went. Obviously, he led the comeback, right? They were down, whatever it was, 17-6 at half. He led the comeback. They got the win, 30-20. Wasn't always the prettiest, but he started 1 for 3 with a pick. True freshman comes into the game because your veteran, polished passer gets hurt, tossed in there. He goes 1 for 3 with an interception and then completes his next 7 passes. So I like the brain he has on him, right? I like the emotional intelligence of CJ Bailey. That's going to be ramped up at Clemson. Dave Doran after the game. By the way, the piece of audio we played earlier, that was from today, him talking about C.J. Bailey starting moving forward. This is Dave Doran talking about Bailey's performance in the game post-game.
I think it's just poise, you know. I mean, he just went out there and played the game, you know, whether he was throwing the football or scrambling, throwing it away, rushing for some tough yards at times to extend the chains. Did a really good job just managing it and playing fast, and he looked really poised. So that was good to see.
And he's going to need it. He's going to need it. Because like I said, KC Concepcion in that game was kind of a non-factor, right? I think it was 8 catches for 25 yards. That's not enough. It's not about getting him the ball. It's about getting him the ball in positions he can do things with it. Dakari Collins ended up being the leading receiver. The running game came from all over the place and mostly late in the game. There is an NC State worry that I have now that was always kind of looming right after that Western Carolina game. There's always been this thought of not liking some of the things that you saw, but you were always able to, with a little logic and reason, push it away. No, it was just week 1. They got a lot of transfers. They had to figure it out. No. Tennessee's really good. They got a bunch of NFL guys. That's not real. They just got, a little quicksand, right? Things started rolling against them, and it got big really quickly. Well, now we're 3 games in. Every game has had things pop up that concerns me, and you're rolling in with a freshman quarterback to your next game. This is for lack of a better term, put up or shut up time for the NC State Wolfpack. There's only so much kind of fending off of those looming negative thoughts you can do before they just take up residency in your brain. This game was all about Grayson McCall. He gets hurt. It just transitions. Now it's all about C.J. Bailey and allowing him to activate all your playmakers. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, I need to tell you about Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry, specifically the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop located inside their Village District location in Raleigh. But how about this? You may not even have to walk all the way into Bailey's Fine Jewelry, into the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, because right there in the main display room, you can find the Blancpain timepieces, the Blancpain watches, the oldest surviving watchmaking brand, which does maybe tell you that all these other watches are following their lead. And it's not just because they're the oldest surviving watchmaking brand dating back into the early 1700s, but they've also been at the forefront of innovation. Some call the 50 Fathoms, one of their models, the earliest modern dive watch. Remains a benchmark for professional diving timepieces. Nowadays, everyone has a diving piece that they consider iconic, but it all started with 50 Fathoms. Blancpain is dedicated to traditional watchmaking and values its position as a leader in high-end mechanical timepieces. And as I said, at the Village District location of Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Blancpain, their display case right there in the main display room. You walk in, you can't miss it. And while you're there, by the way, check out the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, check out the Omega Boutique, check out the Blancpain, the Glashütte original display cases right there in the main room. And let them know you heard about it right here on 99.9 The Fan from me, Tim. Again, that's Tim from 99.9 The Fan when they ask about it at Bailey's Fine Jewelry. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are opening the phone lines for a Monday sound-off, 919-860-5326. It's the Heister Automotive Group hotline. We want to hear from you, your reactions, your venting for the Panthers, for the Bryce Young benching, for State, for Carolina. Duke, they're both 3-0. We want to hear from you. 919-860-5326. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open for you. Coming up next.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're dishing up a clash of conferences.
Hot dog, man.
It's Atlanta and Philadelphia.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7:30.
Put up or shut up time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
Here we go.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, And absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
Veterans, did you know VA mortgage rates have plummeted and you can now access up to 100% of your home's equity and turn that into cash right now? Hey, it's Roger Moore, President and CEO of Loan Pronto, announcing our VA Equity Advantage program. This VA offer can get you $50, $70, $100,000 cash out with no junk fees and no hassle. With APRs in the fives, you can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, and get one easy-to-manage payment. Veterans we help save on average $850 per month. And listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6.25%, we can do a streamlined refinance with no income verification and no appraisal, saving you hundreds a month. At Loan Pronto, we respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now and ask about our special VA Equity Advantage program. 919-381-1760. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Just when you thought the world's largest beer garden couldn't get any better, it's game on at the Raleigh Beer Garden. Hop Shots Mini Golf, their new 18-hole miniature golf course, is now open to all ages. Putt away and enjoy foosball, ping pong, and cornhole, plus all the mouth-watering food and refreshing beverages you already love at the Raleigh Beer Garden. Compete with friends, family, celebrate a special occasion, or have your next event at Hop Shots Mini Golf at the Raleigh Beer Garden, 614 Glenwood Avenue.
Hey, it's Adam Gold here, and I want to tell you about a life-changing event. And this can come in many forms. Hey, a good carrot cake just might be a life-changing event. A tiramisu? Oh my gosh. Or how about this? Getting rid of contact lenses and glasses forever, as I did. Don't laugh, it's true. Dr. Lori Travers at Travers LASIK got rid of my contact lenses and my glasses and everything that goes along with it forever. It took 5 minutes per eye. It was totally painless. I was able to go back to work the very next day, and 0% financing for 24 months is available. I went from $2,250 to $20/20 vision in one procedure. Incredible stuff. All you got to do, the consultation is free, so call 919-510-6830, 919-510-6830, online, traverslasik.com. Get rid of contacts, get rid of glasses, and everything that goes along with it forever. Travers LASIK, see what you've been missing.
Fly Copa Airlines from R to U to Latin America and get 2 vacations in one. Enjoy a stopover in Panama for up to 7 days with no extra airfare. Book your Panama stopover today at copa.com, COPA.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for a Monday sound-off. Every Monday during the football season, we open up the phone lines and we let you sound off, vent. We let you take over, and obviously we respond, and we're going to react. But the phone number to call in is 919-860-5326, so collect your thoughts and call in. Also, in the meantime, while we line up the callers here, and we already have a few on the line, Brooks and Dunn are heading to PNC Arena on March 27th on the Neon Moon Tour with special guests David Lee Murphy and more. Text SHOW, S-H-O-W, that's the keyword SHOW, to 919-860-5326 to enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Brooks and Dunn, PNC Arena, March 27th. Again, show to 919-860-5326. That's also the number to call in, 919-860-5326. We want to hear from you. We'll start with Omar in Raleigh. He is on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline. Omar, thank you for calling in. What do you want to sound off on?
So I just want to talk about Bryce Young for a second.
Let's do it.
I think that benching him is the best thing possible right now in this current moment. I was thinking about it yesterday. We picked Bryce Young because he was some football genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
His IQ is off the charts. He's some smart man.
As we were told.
Football. I've seen this man make some of the dumbest plays on the football field in the last, 2 years, year and a half. It's just football IQ isn't there. I thought that's why we got him, because he was, very smart on the field. But, man, the decisions I've seen him make is just, it makes me mad.
So you said it's the best decision possible. Are you saying that for Bryce or for the team, or who is this the best decision for?
I think everything. It lets Bryce Young take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
It lets, see what, Andy Dalton can do for a little bit. I mean, you saw yesterday, Adam Thielen was getting pissed. He was, missing, he was wide open. Let's just take a step back. Let Andy Dalton take the wheel and just see what happens. Let's let Bryce, recoup his thoughts and then, just go from there.
All right, Omar, I appreciate the call. I'll respond a little bit here, but thank you for calling in. Call in anytime. I do think that a big part of this is just admitting this was wrong, right? And when I say this, it is, I've said it a bunch of times, right? The bill of goods we were sold is that Bryce Young was the genius, right? If you wanted the biggest, tallest, strongest, you would have gone for somebody like Anthony Richardson, who was in that same draft class. If you wanted the most productive, particularly their last year in college, you would have gone for somebody like C.J. Stroud. But if you wanted the brains, if you wanted the IQ, if you wanted the ready-made, you went with Bryce Young. I think it's clear to say that that didn't translate immediately. So a big part of this is just saying, hey, the reason we drafted him end up not being true, at least not quickly, so let's go ahead and move on. And it's going to take some time for us to all come to grips with the fact that the bill of goods we were sold ended up not being the thing that we actually received. Lucas in Forest City wants to talk Panthers here on a Monday Sound Off. Again, the phone number to call in, 919-860-5326. Lucas, thank you for calling in. What's your take on the Panthers?
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
We're doing great, but we want to hear from you. So what do you got?
So, big Panthers fan, and I want to talk about the quarterback situation. So, do y'all think, and I'm on both sides of this, I'm all for benching him, and I'm all for him still playing. But do y'all think we're going to see Bryce Young take another snap down here in Carolina?
Ooh, it's a fantastic question,
Great
Lucas.
question.
Here's how I'll answer it. I've predicted wrong on what the Panthers are going to do a few times. I'm predicting almost what I would do in this situation. I think once you make this move, you're out. I don't see this.
Yeah.
I don't see this as a, hey, let's give him 5 weeks to regroup and then bring him back out. After Dave Canales all offseason sold us on part of the reason I'm excited to take the job is because of Bryce Young and working with Bryce Young, and I watched him in college, and his calm, cool, collected demeanor is something I'm excited to work for. 2 games in to bench him? I don't know how you put that toothpaste back in the tube. Now, having said that, if you would have asked me 6 hours ago if Bryce Young would be starting week 3, I would have said, you're darn right he's starting week 3. So I've mispredicted on the Panthers before, but if they use what I would consider sound logic, I think barring injury, because if Andy Dalton gets hurt, obviously we'll see Bryce Young. Barring injury, I think his time with the Panthers is donezo.
Thank y'all for the call, y'all. Panther Nation, we got to keep pounding through this.
I love it. To keep pounding, I don't know if it's ever been more true. It's like, hey, just keep pounding, keep plugging away.
I think a lot of Panthers fans were kept pounding their head against the wall.
Kept pounding drinks. There was a lot of pounding going on. Robert and Raleigh, you're up next. How about this little Duke love? The same.
I gotta stay on topic. This is a positive call.
All right.
Underrated college football player of the weekend. Duke field goal kicker Todd Polino.
Okay.
In a 5-point win. He kicks a 48-yarder and a 53-yarder, and he's a perfect 3 for 3 on extra points. Because it wasn't a walk-off kick to win the game, nobody's going to pay attention. But for a college player to hit a 48 and a 53-yarder in a 5-point win speaks volumes about him. And I will say, going into the fourth quarter, Duke was behind, and Manny Diaz said, this is how we play. We're a fourth-quarter team. So I think Manny Diaz is kind of underrated, too. Duke is 3-0. And
you're darn right. You're darn right. Appreciate the call, Robert. I'll give you this. Of the teams we cover, the triangle teams, the Panthers, right now the team keeping me sane is the Duke Blue Devils. UNC is also 3-0, but every game feels like the complete roller. You're so tired after watching UNC. NC State is 2-1, but we've already talked about the issues they've faced. Panthers just benched their I don't know, at one point savior, and Duke is just sitting there chilling, winning close games. Playing good defense. The offense is getting better. Duke's keeping us sane right now.
You know who your quarterback is. Solid. You know that your defense is good.
Yep.
And
you just had your
no
first
drama.
100-yard rusher of the year. Jordan Moore, stud.
Yeah, and you found a running game. Like, you're 3-0. Like, wow, stability. Duke football. When the model of stability in North Carolina.
You know, when there's like when people get overwhelmed, they might have a musical artist they like to watch or listen to, or maybe it's like forest sounds or something like that. When a Triangle football fan wants to chill out right now, what they do is they turn on a Duke football game and just watch them grind their way to a close win. Everybody else gets my heart rate going too fast. Not all bad, right? Like I said, UNC is also 3-0, but it's not exactly a relaxing 3-0. I believe this is Kessler. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, from Fort Lauderdale. So repping Florida on our phone lines. By the way, you can call in as well. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Kessler, who do you want to talk about on the old Carolina Panthers?
Hey, what's up, Tim? Yeah, originally from Stanford, North Carolina, so repping the Tar Heel State down south in Florida now. But, yeah, I mean, basically, you know, everyone knows now about the Bryce situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was someone that wanted to draft Bryce. I was against Stroud just with the history of Ohio State quarterbacks, and I didn't even think he was the most promising out of the Ohio State bust that we had seen come into the league. Anyways.
I respect your accountability on that one. A lot of people are changing what they said before the draft now that, 2020 hindsight. So I respect it. What do you got?
Yeah. So basically, just to say, I was for him. I'm not just a Bryce hater. But this is a good sign, I think, for the organization. I didn't want to see Canales die on the Bryce sword too. Ever since he walked in the door, every decision has been about how do we make Bryce work.
Mm-hmm.
And there's resentments growing in the locker room, whether they say it on camera or not. For once, though, it looks like we're making a decision based on what's best for the team. I wouldn't put any expectations on if Bryce comes back or if it's done. Or if it does, it does. But if it's not, it doesn't. Whatever. But he's not going to live up to what we gave up for him. We know that. So let's just stop pretending it's going to happen. Could he still be something? Maybe. But we'll see. But it's nice to see that we're doing what's best for us to win. And I don't really want us having the number one pick next year because I feel like the pressure of just taking Carson back out of Georgia is going to be there, just like how we were with Bryce. And we're just going to take, who's the front runner again. And I don't think Becker Ewers is going to be the best guy. I think Cam Ward's stock is going to come way up. And, we'll see what happens there. But I'm glad we're doing what's best for us to win right now.
Appreciate the call, Kessler. Keep repping the Tar Heel State down in Fort Lauderdale.
Go Panthers, go Heels.
Here's my response to what he just said there. The number one pick could also be traded. The number one pick could also be an edge rusher. It just gives you the option to do whatever you want. The other thing I'll point out here is you're right. Everything that since Dave Canales has taken over, every decision that's been made has been made with the undertones of this is what's best for Bryce. Does it make you concerned about Dave Canales at all? That every decision has been made to improve Bryce, and then the first thing we do is see Bryce having taken steps back from last year? I made this joke a couple of days ago. Like a quarterback doesn't bust on his own. Usually they need some help. I'm just saying, if every decision was made for Bryce Young to be better and then he shows up worse, Do we look at that decision maker at all, or do we put it all on Bryce, which is obviously a possibility as well? Joey in Wilmington on the Heister Automotive Group hotline here on a Monday Sound Off. Joey, go ahead and sound off.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing well.
So my question for you guys, let's pretend, as it sits right now, we're going to end up with a top 5 pick.
Okay.
Because it looks
that's a fair,
like
that's a fair projection.
Yeah. So if you're GM, you're Dan Morgan, are you thinking it'd be better off to, A, trade back and allocate picks? Because obviously there's a lot more wrong with the team than the quarterback. We could end up with someone like, the names have been thrown around, Cam Ward, Carson Beck, et cetera. I personally think with the way the team is right now, I would think it'd be a better move for us to get as many picks as we can, trade back, fill all the other holes on the roster, get a bridge guy, maybe bring Andy Dalton back. Look at the teams in our division, getting someone like Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, and, just looking a lot better off than bringing in someone else, another top 5 pick with this roster we have.
Joey, I think you've stumbled into one of Panther Nation's favorite talking points. It's very hard to answer that question without knowing how much influence David Tepper has over that decision.
Right.
I think if you look at Dave Canales, what he would want to do, well, what has he done very, very well throughout his career in Seattle and Tampa? He's found journeyman veterans and made them into competent starters, whether it's Baker Mayfield, whether it's Geno Smith. So I think that's probably the route he would want to go, get somebody he can trust to execute the offense. But I wonder if David Tepper isn't going to go in another direction because they've tried the veteran thing. Remember, there was the Teddy Bridgewater. There was the Sam Darnold. There was the Baker Mayfield all coming through that door, and it didn't work. So, the Tepper element is one that I don't think you can predict, I can predict, or anyone whose last name isn't Tepper can predict.
I'm sure he can't predict it either right now, but yeah.
Well, he can. He'll just say, whatever the right decision is, that's what I'm going to do. And then when it's wrong, he'll just say that was someone else. Joey, we appreciate the call. We are going to have the Tepper conversation at some point. I wonder, and this is just me wondering, this is the mindless wanderings of a radio host. What could have changed between post-game when Bryce was the starter, and this afternoon when Bryce was benched?
I think it was Canales just saying the right things.
I want
you don't want to stir up the hornet's nest immediately after a loss like that.
We also know that there are weekly meetings with the owner at some point.
I mean,
I don't know if they're Monday morning. I don't know. This is mindless wanderings. I'm just thinking out loud.
Here's this question then: if it's Tepper making the call, is Tepper openly admitting that he bleeped up?
Yes,
but
yeah. The answer would be yes, but my guess is in his mind he doesn't see it that way. In his mind, it's. I think we need to fix what Fitterer left behind, or there's someone else that's going to get blamed.
Do you think that Dave Canales did like the Jedi mind trick of making David Tepper think it was his idea to bench him when really, and Canales is like, yes. I got it to do what I wanted.
If he's that good, then he might be around for a while.
Hey.
If he's that good, then Canales' job is safer than I thought. Rick in Raleigh, you're up next on a Monday Sound Off. Again, Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326 for your thoughts on this weekend. It doesn't have to be the Panthers, by the way. It doesn't have to be Bryce. It can be State. It can be Duke. It can be UNC. We're looking for your weekend thoughts on a Monday. Again, the phone number, 919-860-5326. Rick in Raleigh, as I said, you're up next. What do you want to sound off on?
Gentlemen, big fan of the show. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
2 things. One, how do the Giants on a 53-man roster not have somebody who kicked a field goal or an extra point throughout their career and blow that game? Number 2, thinking outside the box, and Tim, you said it, can't all be Bryce Young's fault. Let's trade him to Miami, maybe get a second or third round pick, and let's see what they could do with him at Miami. Thank you for taking the call. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Rick. And you know what? Rick is a true listener of the show. You know why? Because he did what I do, which is let's number our thoughts. Let's get them into a list here. And first, second. The first on the Giants. Very true. I mean, very true. I also think if you have an offense that you have confidence in, you should be able to go 1 for 3 from at least 1 for 3. I know they missed an extra point. Then they went 0 for 2 on 2-point conversions. As soon as my kicker gets hurt, I'm looking at my offense and saying we're going for 2 every time. I'm not trying the punter. I'm not trying, some other moves. Hey, this tight end kicked in high school, so let's try him. I'm just looking at my quarterback and saying we're going for it for 2 every single time, and having confidence I'll do it at least 50%. The second thought on the trade to Miami, I hear you, and I'm actually seeing this a lot because Miami looks like they might very quickly be in need for a Tua-like quarterback, and obviously Bryce Young at Alabama did some Tua-like things. Here's the issue I have. What would you get for Bryce right now? A fourth?
A ham sandwich, maybe?
A fifth? A conditional fourth to fifth, depending on how much he plays. And it's really, really tough for teams to look at it and say, we gave up DJ Moore. We gave up the pick that became Jalen Carter. We gave up a pick that became Tyreek Stevenson. We gave up next year's second. We gave up so much, right? We gave up
the pick that became Caleb Williams.
Yeah, how can I forget that? Pick that became the number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams. And, 18 games later, we're going to trade him for a fourth. It's might be the right move, but it's a tough move to get over mentally. We'll go back to the call-in line. Monday sound off. Matthew in Raleigh wants to sound off on Bryce. So, Matthew, what's your sound off on the move by the Panthers?
See, I think they made the right move. I think Bryce Young, there's really no excuses for him playing bad. I mean, if you look at Kyler Murray in Arizona, I think he weighs 3 more pounds than Bryce Young, the exact same height, and he dropped 41 points yesterday. So I don't think there's any excuse about Bryce Young's size. I think it has a lot to do with the team's chemistry, seeing as the offensive line kind of leaving him out to dry. But I think this is the right move. I think he gets to learn and have some experience from Andy Dalton. He is obviously experienced. He's 37 years old. That's basically my take on the whole Bryce Young thing.
All right, I appreciate the call. Call back in any time. I do think it's an under-talked about thing is the Bryce Young personality of it all. It definitely didn't feel in-game like everybody was rallying around him.
Oh, no, not at all.
Did you see Gardner Minshew threw the interception, what Max Crosby did?
I did not.
You can go back and find it. It's a video that went viral over the last 24 hours. Max Crosby is one of the baddest dudes on the planet. He is a terrifying edge rusher.
Hey, Panthers get to see him this weekend.
Good luck, Andy Dalton. Gardner Minshew, new quarterback, but the one ECU quarterback. The one thing we know about Gardner Minshew is he is like a dude's dude, right? It seems like locker rooms love him, even if the play hasn't always been there. He threw a pick when he was jogging off the field. Max Crosby almost yoked him up and gave him like daps and you're gonna be great and don't worry about it and you're still this. Didn't see a lot of that for Bryce. So maybe there is Andy Dalton's just going to rally the troops in a way that maybe Bryce couldn't. It's a veteran thing. It's a being in a locker room thing more often. It's a, just kind of the one thing Bryce does, and this is not anything he can choose. He has a bit of a baby face. He's a smaller guy. Sometimes it appears as if, you squint with one eye and close the other. It's like a middle schooler walking by. And that's not the biggest commanding presence that you need in a tough situation.
Speaking of body language, I was sitting in the press conference yesterday at Bank of America for his post-game presser, just watching him. I was just like, yo, man, your body language is just – his confidence is gone. He's kind of rubbing and scratching his arms, and he's just it just does not exude any bit of confidence. And I walked by him in the locker room. He's not a big guy. I'm 5'10", too many pounds. And I'm like, he's not a big guy. And I walked by Justin Herbert because as they were going to the locker room, I'm like, you're an Adonis. He's the 6'4", 235.
Central casting.
I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. So that's what it's supposed to look like.
Some of it is just presence, which, if you look at history, and I know it's not true now, and it's a very weird time to be talking about presidents, but I was an AP history guy. That was one of the classes I really liked. If you go back, presidents were always bigger dudes. It was just a commanding thing that you can't really explain. And maybe Andy Dalton can lean into that. Let's go ahead and hit a few more here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline on a Monday. Sound off. We'll go to Brent in Wake Forest. Brent, I'll just tell you this: the The note I have about your call says Bryce might not be the problem. So I'm excited to see where you go with this. Brenton, Wake Forest, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I'm not even a Panthers fan, but I'm just, I live in North Carolina, so it's always on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to play devil's advocate here because I collect sports cards and I have a lot of Bryce Young memorabilia.
Fingers crossed, man. It's a reclamation project.
Yeah, but so I'm just looking at this from all angles, and I find it funny now that Panthers fans are saying this also, and it'll make sense in a second, that this has got to be an organizational thing, like with what's going on with the Jets and stuff like that, because now they're saying, let's trade for Baker, blah, blah, blah. At one point, you had Baker and Sam Darnold, who just beat the 49ers this weekend, in the same quarterback room at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this has got to be a progression issue. I mean, these guys go somewhere else, and they look like they know what they're doing again, Then you play for the Jets, and you play for Carolina, and your career's in the dumpster.
Would you agree with this, though? When you draft someone number 1 overall, you're trying to draft the revolutionary quarterback that leads the change in a tough program like that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, I mean, I'm looking at it from, look at where Baker was drafted. He's drafted number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Look at where Darnold's drafted. He's drafted number 3. These are all guys that were drafted around that same spot that now Carolina fans are, hey, we trade for Baker. You had Baker. You had Sam Darnold. They all looking decent now. I think it's more than just – do I think some of it's Bryce? Absolutely. But I think it's more in-depth than that. I think there's some behind-the-scenes stuff. It's just not good over here in Carolina right now.
All right, Brent, we appreciate the call. We got to move on here because we want to fit a few more in before the top of the hour, but thank you for the call. Heaster Automotive Group Hotline, Ryan in Raleigh talking NC State. Want to get a little college conversation here. Ryan, what do you have for us?
What's up, man? Doing good, man. Doing good, yeah. Dave, man, he's been mediocre for 10-plus years. He ain't done nothing good for us at all.
We're talking Dave Doran now, just because we've talking a lot of Daves today, so I want to make sure we have the right Dave.
Dave Doran, yes, sir. Dave Doran, man. He's been mediocre football for 10-plus years. He's got so much talent. Ain't done nothing with it, man. Time for him to go.
Appreciate the call. And I've said this about Dave Doran in the past. There is, I believe, a section of State fans that feel like that, right? Like he's been here for how long and he hasn't gotten the 10-win season, and sure, he doesn't always bottom out, but he's very rarely peaking either. If you look at the history of State, there's not really any coaches that have gone above that. They've had one double-digit win season ever. That's not like one in the last 10 years, one in the last 20, one this ever, and it was 2002 with Phillip Rivers. So if you don't have a first-ballot Hall of Fame NFL quarterback, this State has never peaked more than they've peaked under Dave Doran. Last one here before we move on. Derek in New Bern wants to talk Bryce on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline on a Monday. Sound off. Derek, go ahead and sound off.
Of the time. I just wanted to kind of go into why Bryce was benched, because, I mean, we can go over things that have already been talked to death about him and his shortcomings, but really,
I see what you did there. Shortcomings.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and everything that we gave up for him, and it kind of sucks because it'd be one thing if Bryce was like, if he was like Jamarcus Russell, like that type of personality, but he's not. He's a nice guy.
I agree.
And that's why you hate it for him, and he didn't ask to be for us to bet the farm on him like that. But really, I think that it just comes down to Tepper had to make this is a decision for the franchise and for him, and you got to look at your fan base. You look at the comments on social media. Like, I remember, I thought they did a good job. Before the draft, they asked who should we pick number 1, and most of the comments, the majority of them, were number 17, and it just showed that they were listening to us. And you look at it now, and it's just pretty much the whole fan base, for benching Bryce. And I don't know if after game 2 was is too early, but at some point you got to think about your new head coach. I myself personally believe in Canales. I think he's a player's coach, kind of like Pete Carroll, and you just got to see what a guy who looks like like Andy Dalton, someone who is an NFL caliber quarterback, he's got the arm, and just think about how different that offense looked when he played that game in Seattle last year. And I guess that's just, I guess that's what we're gonna see on next week. Just see what the offense looks like.
Appreciate the call, Derek. I completely agree with you that this would be much easier if Bryce was a jerk, or if Bryce seemed like he didn't put the work in, and it stinks because it seems like he's a nice guy that does work hard. It's just not working out on the field. Once again, that was Monday Sound Off. We're going to keep the phone lines open at different points throughout the show. We want to keep hearing from you. So keep that Heaster Automotive Group hotline saved in your phone, 919-860-5326. Right now, though, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. And, of course, that means Gordon Miller, my buddy over at Miller Lending, started it off way back in 1987 with the no closing cost loans. But here's the deal. Rates are expected to drop. Little Fed cut coming this way. If that's happening in the market, you're going to wish you used Miller Lending when the rates were starting with 7s and 8s not long ago, because if you paid no closing costs then, you wouldn't have all that money out of your pocket, and you could do it again when rates drop. Again, no money out of your pocket. Just get the lower rate, lower your monthly payment, which is the whole goal, and take no money out of your pocket. I keep saying no money out of your pocket because I want that part to land. No closing costs, no third-party fees, zero means zero with a no closing cost loan at Miller Lending. So stop buying down rates, stop thinking you're trapped at an 8% mortgage rate, and instead call Miller Lending where they can help you out. The number to call is 919-860, I'm so used to saying our number now. Miller Lending's number is 919-447-3377. I'll say it again, 919-447-3377, or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We have football at 4 coming up next. We shift focus from Bryce, who got benched, to the guy who benched him. What's Dave Canales' role in all of this? Stick around.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
Jordan Moore delivers, and the Blue Devils have the lead.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford, and by Amedios.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season, and that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
TD, Tutty, taking it to the house. Whatever you call a touchdown, they matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first NFL bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score a touchdown. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Raleigh's injury lawyers.
Bounces away into the end zone. Touchdown!
Visit GotBrian.com.
That's GotBrian.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. It is a WRAL weather alert day as we have a tropical system moving onshore, bringing us a lot of heavy rain this afternoon and tonight. We are looking at a flood watch, as much as 2 to 5 inches of rain across our area, and the chance of a few isolated tornadoes from the Triangle area eastward. We'll see a high this afternoon of 72.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock checkout of your money. Dow Jones is up 228 points today to 41,622. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities. This hour of the drive brought to you by Zero Res. Kick football season off with a deal this month from Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpets clean starting at $119 and 25% off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com. Again, ZeroResRaleigh.com.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, if you are just getting in your car now, Bryce Young was benched. The Panthers deciding to go with Andy Dalton as QB1. Throughout the first hour of the show, we did a lot of breaking down what that means for Bryce, what it means for the team moving forward. Now I want to shift my focus to the head coach, because for every bencher, there's a benchy. Mm-hmm. For every benchy, there's a bencher, I guess would have been the way to say that. Dave Canales earlier today spoke with the media about the decision to bench his starting quarterback, Bryce Young, and this was his kind of opening statement about that decision. Best decision for our group, for our team going forward. The true irony of this whole situation is between Bryce Young and Dave Canales and their reputations and histories with the media, I don't believe we're going to get an honest thought from either of them. We're just going to get the right thing. They're both so well media trained and always saying the right thing. We're not going to get an authentic thought from either of them. Here's my question with Dave Canales. Dave Canales the whole reason he was brought in to be the head coach of the Carolina Panthers is because of his work rehabilitating quarterbacks, taking quarterbacks that others had given up on and turning them into successful starters, right? For everybody that's out there screaming, oh, Baker Mayfield was so terrible with the Panthers. Now look at him with Tampa. That was Dave Canales. He was the offensive coordinator down there. So he gets the job on the back of his ability to rehabilitate quarterbacks. Then from the moment he takes the job, he's singing the praises of Bryce Young. You would think the decisions to trade for Deontay Johnson, to sign those interior offensive linemen to big free agency deals, to draft the people they drafted were in a lot of ways driven by Dave Canales and the list he gave of this is what I need to make Bryce Young work. And then 2 games in, well, I was wrong. 2 days in, I'm so wrong, we got to bench that guy.
Let's play that one more time. I know there's an EAS test and stuff that was kind of going around throughout the area a little bit. So let's actually, and also for the people online that are maybe watching, let's go ahead and give that clip out one more time.
All right. Dave Canales, earlier today, his kind of opening statement on why they decided to bench Bryce Young.
I'm sure you've all heard by now our decision to play Andy Dalton as we go into Las Vegas to play the Raiders. Sitting Bryce down here, after yesterday, just went home, watched the film, had some conversations with coaches, with Dan Brandt. So had to gather a lot of information through this morning and made that decision after looking at it that this is the best decision for our group, for our team going forward.
It's all said, right? Like I said, that's what you say when you bench a quarterback. Do coaches get some kind of like script and it's for benching quarterback, turn to page 65 and I'm all right, 1, 2, 3. It is what's best for our team and our franchise.
It's in the manual.
That's what Dave Canales does. He's at the press conference. He's usually saying the right thing. And you know what? I actually that's something Canales and Bryce Young have in common. And I wonder. We talked about this earlier. If Bryce Young wasn't losing the team a little bit because of that. And I said this about Dave Canales after the first game. When you play really bad, you should be mad. When the offense goes out there and has 3 and outs to start a game followed by an interception, the quarterback should be furious. How many times did we see Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, whoever throwing tablets, right? Peyton Manning mic'd up arguing with Jeff Saturday. We've seen Pat Mahomes yell on the sideline. Bryce Young is, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bryce Young's dad is like a sports psychologist. He's been working with quarterback guru since he was like 6. It's the right way to handle adversity is to do what Bryce does, which is like, well, we're just going to regroup. We're going to trust the work. We're going to get better. We're going to work harder. It's frustrating. It's fresh, but next week's another opportunity. Sometimes a team just wants you to see, I threw a pick and I'm very upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dave Canales here, right, as at the risk of losing the locker room, is going to a guy with a little bit more locker room presence. He's going to Andy Dalton, a little bit more veteranship, and then, hopefully he's going to steady the field a little bit here. Dave Canales has to be careful not to fall into the same trap Bryce Young fell into, which is every single time I'm talking to the media, I'm bringing out my my coach's media script, the handbook, and I'm just, all right, 2 straight losses, go to page 45. Here's what I have to say. Sometimes you just got to be authentic and real and say, I'm mad. We have more clips from Dave Canales earlier today on the decision to bench Bryce. Here's more.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. We want to play more football. A lot of factors that go into it, for this decision, and ultimately just kind of lands on my shoulders to be able to make the best decision for our group, to give us our best chance to win this week. And we focus on the weeks. We focus on the challenge at hand, and we feel like Andy gives us our best chance to meet the challenge.
Andy gives us our best chance to reach the challenge. I agree. I think you're more likely to win week 3 at Vegas with Andy Dalton than Bryce Young. That's not all a team is thinking about, though. A team like the Panthers, are you winning the 2025 Super Bowl? Are you winning the division in 2025? Or are you building for the future? Every team falls into one of two categories. If you're all in for this year or if you're all in for the future. And it's very hard to be those at the same time. That's why I think it's hard. People like Bill Belichick have failed at it. It's hard being both a GM and a head coach because traditionally the head coach is all in for this year and the GM has to think bigger picture. Playing Andy Dalton is a coach move. I want to win next week. I'm tired of losing. This locker room stinks after a loss. The GM move might be, now we got to play Bryce Young just to see if there's ever anything we can salvage there. So it's a little difference there. I'm not saying that either is saying like, hey, Bryce Young's doing well. I'm saying one of them might be saying, I don't care if he's not doing well, play him anyway. And the other's going, I'm trying to win on Sunday. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have Dennis just reminded me. I want to make sure we play this one. Dave Canales was asked earlier today, what is David Tepper's influence on the decision? We're definitely going to have to talk about this today quite a bit. Here's Dave Canales earlier.
I want to keep that private. What I would like to say, though, is this is something after I watched the film, I looked at it, had a thought, started working on talking to the guys that we make decisions with. Certainly a lot of parties involved there. And ultimately this comes on me, and my number one responsibility is to help the Panthers win. And so this move, I believe, puts us in the best chance to do that this week.
That is concerning. Oh, my goodness. What did David Tepper's influence have over this decision? And his answer was, I'd like to keep that private. There's one right answer to that. He supported my decision. I want to give you David Tepper's football background. There isn't one. This, like, Jerry Jones, many think, is too hands-on, and he runs all of the football, and it's like, well, he's an owner, so he gets to, but that's the only reason. He was a national champion college football player at Arkansas.
Yeah.
David Tepper, to my knowledge, didn't play in high school. Like, from what I've learned about him, he's a very smart guy. He's an unbelievable financial mind. That guy doesn't get a seat at the table other than having a seat at the table. Like, he's there to hear and listen and support.
I mean, he was minority owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers before buying the Panthers.
So, yes, I guess his football, yes.
That's the extent of it.
He's been an owner.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, what was it, like 3, 4, 5% of the Steelers? That's a Rooney-run organization.
Exactly. He did not take notes.
The answer there is we had a meeting with him. This is a big decision. He's the owner. He's supportive in our decision. We're going to come back to that. We are definitely going to come back to that. This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Window Nation. Did you know that most of your home's cold AC this summer leaked out through your windows, and that if you don't get it fixed, there's a good chance that all of the heat this upcoming winter, when you're running the heat inside, is also leaking out through your windows, which is unnecessarily raising your energy bill? I didn't think so either until Window Nation came out to my house, and they have all the science fair technology. That's what I call it. It looks like a science project. They have the heat lamps. You can fire it at your window and put your hands on the other side of the window, and how much heat you're feeling is how much heat will be leaving your house. It can open your eyes, and it makes it make sense when somebody like Justin, who's the Window Nation representative that talked to us, says you could save a lot of money on your energy bill. And then he shows you it. That's different than just telling you and having you believe it. He'll actually show you. They will show you. Matter of fact, you can schedule a fast, no-obligation, in-home estimate and demonstration of everything I just said right now with the pros at Window Nation. 866-90-NATION is the number to call. That's 866-90-NATION. Or you can just visit them online at windownation.com. Once again, that URL, windownation.com. Don't forget it, windownation.com. Schedule as soon as you can. By the way, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Want to make sure you know that. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus no interest, no payments for 24 months. That is a deal that is pretty darn awesome. There's no limit. Buy 2, get 2 free for as many as you want to buy. Again, windownation.com to schedule. We have the podium coming up, and I have to talk more about that Tepper comment from Dave Canales at some point today. So stick around for that. We'll open up the phone lines. It's a full show today on The Drive. Stick around.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're dishing up a clash of conferences.
Hot dog, man.
It's Atlanta and Philadelphia.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7:30.
Put up or shut up time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
Here we go.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
O'Reilly Auto Parts can help take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Whispering Pines on Highway 22 next to Domino's.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Donald Trump's back, and he's out for control.
I would have every right to go after them.
Complete control.
I will wield that power very aggressively.
And he has a plan to get it.
Detailed plans for exactly what our movement will do.
It's called Project 2025, a 922-page blueprint to make Donald Trump the most powerful president ever. Overhauling the Department of Justice, giving Trump the unchecked power to seek vengeance, eliminating the Department of Education, and defunding K-12 schools, requiring the government to monitor women's pregnancies, and Trump has also proposed severe cuts to Medicare and Social Security. Those are Donald Trump's plans.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that. And sometimes revenge can be justified.
He'll take control, we'll pay the price.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. Paid for by Harris for President.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And you know, we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Homeowners, listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Hey, it's Dennis Cox for Loan Pronto. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted to lows we haven't seen in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner with a 4.99% APR. Whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in the process with another lender, stop now and call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. On approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies. First aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do have to take a detour here away from the Bryce Young getting benched news because it is a Monday, And every Monday at about this time, we do the podium. Now, for those of you that are maybe here for the first time, first of all, welcome. You're here to check out the football news. Every Monday, we look at the 4 teams from the state of North Carolina in the ACC, football teams, and we award medals. It is a 1-week award. It is who had the best weekend, who played the best game. Gold, silver, bronze, and somebody is off the podium. Not always the biggest winner gets the gold and then next and next. Sometimes if you beat a really bad team by a little bit and somebody else beats a really good team by a lot, loses to a really good team by a little bit, the team that loses to the good team might be in first. So here's how it goes. We'll start with off the podium. The ACC team from the state of North Carolina that had the worst week, Wake Forest. 40-6 loss. Granted, it was to the number 5 team in the country, Ole Miss, who I think will actually would do that to quite a few teams in the ACC. I think Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin have something cooking. Jackson Dart's a pretty good quarterback. I would say this. You lost that one by, 34 points? Yes, for the guy that tracks all my on-air math on Twitter. Nailed it. I actually think that loss isn't nearly as bad as the UVA loss the week before, which was by, 1 point? Because I think you had a real chance to beat UVA. You were ahead. You let them come back. So for as bad as it was, it could be worse for Wake Forest. Taylor Morin, ended up with a pretty good day. I think his skill set continues translating no matter who they're playing, wide receiver. And there were a few good things. But a 40-6 loss is a 40-6 loss. You're off the podium. Bronze, NC State. The 30-20 win over Louisiana Tech is what it is. Being down 17-6 at half is inexcusable. That's the part that really made it tough for me to heck even give you the bronze. I have such high regard for the talent on the NC State roster that the more they keep underwhelming, the more kind of frustrating they become. And now they'll be rolling out a freshman quarterback in CJ Bailey for his first career start. And I'm talking true freshman. Not these third-year redshirt COVID year freshmen we've been seeing for the past few years. This is a guy that was in high school not that long ago. They'll be rolling him out going into Clemson, at Clemson for his first start. So not only was there the 30-20 win over Louisiana Tech that was closer than it should have been, but also it plays in the Grayson McCall injury that's going to hold him out for Clemson. So the bronze, I think, is earned there. Silver medal, UNC. 45-10 over NC Central. The QB shuffle might concern you moving forward, and they're doing it again. Do we have the clip of Mac Brown saying he's gonna play both? All right, let's hear from Mac Brown, and just tell me if this sounds familiar. Head coach of UNC, about Connor Harrell and now Jacoby Criswell. Connor Harrell started the game against NC Central. Jacoby Criswell finished the game against NC Central, and then after the game, Mac Brown said this.
If you look at Jacoby, he's a lot like Max, and Connor's just different than they are. So we'll still continue to do the same stuff. Jacoby's just played very little. I think he threw 6 balls here or something while he was here before, and didn't play much at Arkansas. So he's just so inexperienced. And Connor's started 3 games now, only 2 at home. So we're very, very inexperienced at quarterback. We've just got to do a great job of coaching those 2 young guys and build on what they do best.
By the way, I misspoke. That was today. Technically still after the game, but not a post-game press conference. I do think it is relatively funny to call Jacoby Criswell and Connor Harrell those 2 young guys, considering Jacoby Criswell is in his 5th year of college football. He is literally what up until a couple years ago is the oldest you could possibly be as a college football player. This would be your redshirt senior year, which pre-COVID was the oldest you could be. Listen, it's a 45-10 win. That's what it is. Omarion Hampton ran for 200-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. That's what it is. Just the window dressing of it all makes it look way more creative and all over the place than it probably needed to be. But you get a silver. I mean, you win by 35 points, you get a silver. Gold goes to my rock, the Duke Blue Devils. They are my steady Eddie. Every single triangle game that I watch, and I'll even throw the Carolina Panthers in there. I feel like I need an oxygen mask, like we're playing in Mile High. Like I'm going to be exhausted every time they go to commercial. And then there's Duke. They're getting really comfortable in close games, winning in close games. They're finding something that works in those situations. Their development game to game makes sense. Week 1, they learned, all right, this defense is pretty darn good. We need to get the passing game a little bit more than maybe just Malik Murphy to Jordan Moore. Second game, you could see them trying to build on that. You could see them trying to depend on their defense. They win. That was on the shores of Lake Michigan against Northwestern, but they still didn't have a run game. They go into game 3 against UConn. They look like they made an emphasis on running the football. Their guy, Star Thomas, runs for 100-plus yards. It's sometimes it's comfort food. You know what I'm a big fan of, and my wife sometimes makes fun of me for it? We don't have a lot, between watching every sport imaginable, we have a 3-year-old at home. There's not a lot of time to just, sit around and watch TV, right? I'm a big fan of rewatching stuff I've already seen. It's something comforting about knowing when I know the next scene, right? If I get up to use the bathroom, go make some food, I'm not like, oh, no, I'm going to miss it. Part of that is Duke, right? I'm like, all right, they needed to run the ball. They worked on running the ball. That's logical. All right, Malik Murphy to Jordan Moore was good this week. Malik Murphy to Jordan Moore was good next week. The defense has been strong. Manny Diaz looks like he's having a good time. 26-21 win over UConn. Is it the most impressive win of the season? No. Is Duke football 3-0 in the first year post Mike Elko and post Riley Leonard? Mm-hmm. You're darn right they are.
Yep.
Credit where it's due. You get a gold medal for that. Now, did you beat UConn by 1 billion last year? Sure. Give UConn credit, though. They fought hard in this one. Gold medal, Duke football.
It's weird. I know we said it earlier, but Duke football, the model of stability in the state of North Carolina right now when it comes to football, both pro and collegiate.
Yeah, and credit to Manny Diaz for having that. Credit to Manny Diaz for somehow maintaining that part of what Mike Elko had built. Because, Mike Elko, when he was the coach of Duke, he had Riley Leonard, and Riley Leonard was the face of it all, right? He was the guy that they talked about on ESPN, but they won games with their defense. They were giving up the fewest amount of points in the ACC, and that seems to have carried over. Manny Diaz seems to have found a way to continue to build that, and trust me, coaches love when you can win with defense. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9, The Fan. Let's dive into this college football world a little bit more before we go back to the Panthers to kind of end the hour. For everything we just said about Duke, why can't UNC just play a normal game? On Friday, all I asked was for normal. You were playing NC Central, okay, which good program, don't get me wrong, but against an ACC program, the ACC program is going to expect a certain level of dominance. You got that certain level of dominance. Omarion Hampton ran for 200-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. They beat an overmatched opponent by 35 points. How was I still out of breath watching them? How were they still chaotic? How? You go into these games, you want it open and shut. You want no injuries. You want your backups to get in the game. You want the chill. I mean, I could show you the text. We have a little group chat running with Graham Hill, who is boots on the ground for this one, as he likes to say. Dennis Cox, Paul Ihander, myself. So it's kind of this little drive brain trust. And there was legitimate confusion. Jacoby Criswell's in the game. Is Connor Harrell hurt? Is he on the sideline? There he is. What does this mean? Was he benched for his play? Did he have his bell rung? Are they going to go back to him after he calms down? There was legitimate confusion as UNC marched up and down the field against NC Central. Criswell goes in, I would say plays solid, if not spectacular, right? Just a solid game for Jacoby Criswell. No wide receiver had more than 2 catches. No wide receiver had more than 29 yards receiving. Both Nesbitt and Copenhaver had good days at tight end. But it really was a game where maybe Mac Brown's new thing is to just keep everybody on their toes. Maybe Mac Brown's new thing is players don't play well when they're comfortable. Right? He's going in there metaphorically, killing hostages just to keep everybody on edge. Oh, you think because the starter got hurt, our backup quarterback's job is safe? Oh, no.
Nay.
Against an FCS opponent, we're throwing the third string in there. And what are we doing in the postgame? The same thing we did in the preseason. We're selling you that we're going to play 2 quarterbacks in every game.
So we're going to ride the hot hand.
He already told us that once, and it wasn't true at all. He said, we're going to play both. We're going to play Max Johnson and Connor Harrell. Max Johnson wasn't playing even very good, and they weren't turning to Connor Harrell in that first game until the injury. Then they switch Connor Harrell for Jacoby Criswell, and he's in the postgame saying the plan is to play both. We're going, boy, you cried wolf, Mac. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You ain't going to fool me again. The plan is to play both quarterbacks moving forward. Listen, I don't say this to I hope by now, if you listen to this show, I am aware of how difficult it is to play quarterback and how difficult it is to play quarterback at the levels above a level I ever played, which the ACC is one of them. There's a lot of guys that can hand the ball off to Omari and Hampton. And in the games that you win, there's a good chance Omari and Hampton will be the engine driving that. Pick a guy. And then build the offense around it. Because I get what you're doing as far as if the opposing team doesn't know if you're getting Connor Harrell or Jacoby Criswell. They don't know if they're getting 4-4 dual threat quarterback or pocket passer, so they have to prepare for both. But also, your offensive coordinator has to prepare for both. Your tight ends have to prepare for both. Your wide receivers have to prepare for both. It's not just the other team you're giving extra work to. And at the same time, don't let me get too far into this segment without bringing up the fact that UNC is 3-0 with a win over a Big Ten team on the road. And in-hand controlled victories over the 2 teams you should have in-hand controlled victories over. UNC could easily be 4-0 going into the Duke game to open their ACC play. They just have to beat James Madison this weekend. And then that's an ESPN2 nationally televised rivalry game, and they still don't know who their quarterback is. It's I guess a luxury, right? You can be good enough to win games without having a settled quarterback position, but I've never heard a coach say like, "Hey, our unsettled quarterback position is an advantage." There's a lot going on here. In the 3 games that UNC has played, they've had 3 different leading passers, 3 different leading receivers. If it wasn't for Omari and Hampton leading them in rushing against Minnesota and North Carolina Central, they would have 3 different everythings on the offense going into each game. It's pretty absurd what's going on there as far as just chaos and wins.
Still 3-0.
Chaos and wins.
Yep.
Credit to him, I guess. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have to go back to the comments on David Tepper from Dave Canales. And matter of fact, we'll quickly here open up the Heister Automotive Group hotline for some more Monday sound off. So if you want to call in and sound off on anything, college football, NFL football, that's our sounder. When you hear that horn, you know what's up. 919-860-5326, Monday sound off. If you want to call in right now, 919-860-5326. We played the clip earlier for you. I don't know if we have to play the clip again. Dave Canales, we'll play it for you so you can hear it because, I don't know, maybe you won't even believe me when you hear it. Dave Canales was asked about David Tepper's influence on Bryce Young being benched, and this was Canales' answer.
I want to keep that private. What I would like to say, though, is this is something after I watched the film, I looked at it, had a thought, started working on talking to the guys that we make decisions with. Certainly a lot of parties involved there. And ultimately this comes on me, and my number one responsibility is to help the Panthers win. And so this move, I believe, puts us in the best chance to do that this week.
You'd like to keep that private? Why? Transparency. Also, it better be your decision. There was a follow-up. A reporter wanted more on that particular answer. So here's Dave Canales explaining further on Tepper's influence on the benching.
Again, I watched the film. I had a thought in mind. We all talked, and I had to make the best decision for the team.
He had the thought in mind, so obviously he's kind of saying it originated with me, I think is the point being made there.
He said earlier, he's like, I started watching the tape, had the thought last night, talked to a bunch of people. So it sounds like he initiated this.
Then what do you have to keep private?
I mean, he said that multiple times before when it comes to conversations with Tepper, which I get.
And I do, except for the fact, like, that's what the fan base is terrified of.
Mm-hmm.
If they were terrified about something else, I'd say you got to be transparent about that. David Tepper he's not a football guy. No offense to him. Just like if I needed to choose stocks, I'm going to David Tepper and not Dave Canales. If I'm deciding who's going to be my quarterback, I want to go to Dave Canales instead of David Tepper. And it seems like that could be easily answered, right? It seems like that should just be, well, it's my decision. We obviously kept Tepper in the loop because he's the owner of this team, and this is a big decision, and quarterback is important. But no, it was me. His influence was supporting my decision.
Who knows? Maybe the conversation was Canales telling David Tepper, hey, look, this is what I want to do. And Tepper's like, I drafted this guy to be the guy. He's like, yeah, he ain't it. I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen, whether you like it or not.
I would love it if that's the decision.
And maybe David Tepper told Canales, okay, if this backfires, you're done. And Canales goes like, okay, I got to do what's best.
Well, I would love that as well. I'd love that kind of conviction.
Maybe that was the private conversation.
But the other part is you're not under oath at the podium. So
true, but you don't need to tell us everything.
You can tell us anything.
True.
Which if you get the way, part of being an NFL head coach is being the mouthpiece of your franchise. You're the one that's at the podium the most often. I think you let everybody know, hey, I know this was a group decision. Like David Tepper, I know you were involved. Dan Morgan, I know you were involved. Quarterbacks coach, I know you were involved. I'm going to own this one publicly. All right? It starts and ends with me. What was David Tepper's influence? He was a part of the conversations. This was my decision. Not I had a thought and we all talked it out. It's like, if you understand what it is, if you understand how this whole thing works, you got to step up and own this one. There are certain, like, hey, we're looking to get Miles Sanders more involved. You can say, like, hey, the running backs coach came to me, said Miles is, crushing it in practice, and we're going to mix it up. Benching your starting quarterback? That's not a, hey, let's keep it private. That's all of the conversations were had with me, and I'm doing this. Usually, no I and team. Heck, in these situations, I and me. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, Heister Automotive Group hotline is open for a Monday sound-off. If you want to call in and sound off on anything. NC State football, their quarterback shuffle. UNC football, their quarterback shuffle. Panthers football, their quarterback shuffle. Or Duke and their quarterback steadiness. 919-860-5326. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open for a little Monday sound-off. We'll get back into the quarterback shuffles coming up next.
Move your sports day forward.
Full apologies, everybody, because the things that I talked about on Friday that these teams needed to do to win completely backfired. And the reality did not meet the expectations of these teams, Graham.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Ow. Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
The new bonus edition Buck Scratch-Off's got a first-ever bonus game in the Outback.
You mean on the back, not Outback.
What's on the back?
The bonus game.
Then what's on the front?
Prizes up to $1 million.
I thought the game was called Bucks.
It is. Just forget it.
Crikey, mate. Don't go telling people to forget it. The whole point is for them to be remembering it.
The all-new bonus edition Bucks Scratch-Offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.81 to 4.75. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending and Cary. Date the rate, marry the house. A phrase often used by realtors to describe the difference between keeping your new forever home as opposed to your mortgage rate, which you'll only keep until something better comes along, kind of like speed dating. A recent study by the Wall Street Journal further supports this notion by finding the average life of a loan to be less than 4 years. Their suggestion? Find a no-fee loan, which is exactly what Miller Lending has been telling you since 1996. With no closing costs of any kind, you can simply close on today's rates and refinance each time something better comes along. So while builders promote buy-downs with over $10,000 in closing costs, or lenders advertise crazy low rates with even more, Miller Lending continues to be the leader in the no-cost mortgage. So before you throw away thousands of needless fees, pick up the phone and call your local neighborhood lender, Miller Lending and Cary, 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $200 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bet. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply.
This hour of The Drive brought to you by Zero Res. Kick football season off with a deal this month from Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned starting at $119 and 25% off your air duct cleaning. ZeroResRaleigh.com. Again, that is ZeroResRaleigh.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By the way, we're going to open up the phone lines again. We have opened them up for a little Monday sound off, and we'll be starting with a Panthers call from Lonnie and Gardner. But if you want more Panther talk, we actually have Panther talk coming up right after this show at 6 o'clock. Anish Shroff, the play-by-play voice of the Panthers. You'll hear from Dave Canales. I assume we know what they'll be talking about.
Might be a thing or two.
Just occasionally what might be going on there. Yeah, they'll be talking about Bryce Young being benched and Andy Dalton taking over. So that's coming up, Panther Talk, 6 o'clock right here, 99.9 The Fan. Right now, if you want to join us for a little Monday sound off, if there's something you want to sound off on, 919-860-5326. It's the Heaster Automotive Group hotline. Lonnie and Garner, you are up first. What do you want to sound off on?
Just your take on Canales.
Okay.
I think he's the coach the Panthers need right now, and I do not blame him for not throwing Tepper under the bus. He's taking it on, and it's about, I'm sorry to say, but the first 2 games with Young, he's too tippy-toed. you being an ex-quarterback and all, you can see that. I mean, in his footwork and all, he just seemed real scared and hanging on to the ball too long. But I do believe Canales is the future of this franchise.
Okay, I want to clarify something real quick. I was not saying that he should throw Tepper under the bus. I was
Yes, sir. I understand.
I was kind of doing the opposite. I'm saying you should absolve Tepper of the idea that he may be the reason why you're making this move. I think Dave Canales has to own it.
In a way, it seemed like he did absolve him. Like, look, he ain't got nothing to do with it. This is all of us coaches making this decision.
If you took that away, I think that's the right message. Like, I didn't necessarily take that away. I think the right message is David Tepper, he's supportive of us. We're the ones making this decision would be, I think, the proper message to get out there.
Yeah, I understand. There's one way to make a speech, and then there's another.
Yep.
But, man, I love y'all's show. You're doing great.
Thank you.
And it's been almost a little over a year now, so keep it going on.
Thank you very much, Lonnie. Appreciate that. I love that he
Yes,
knew
sir.
how long our show has been here. That's a true listener right there. Appreciate you, Lonnie. Again, if you want to sound off, 919-860-5326. But I do want to kind of make sure that point is made. I'm not asking him to, like, I'm not saying Dave Canales should have gone, that's not my decision, it's Tepper's decision. I'm actually doing the opposite. I think he should say, this was all me. Especially because I think it should be all him. If it was Tepper's decision, we got bigger problems. If he's the one deciding how the quarterback goes, it's going to be tough for anybody to have success in that franchise.
And the way Canales started the convo, started his presser, he said, I watched the tape last night and I had this thought.
Yeah.
So it's like it clearly was his. It was his initiation.
He planted the seed.
Yes,
is
and
what he wanted to get across.
And let me talk to coaches. Let me talk to. Like he mentioned Brant Tillis.
I'm
He
guessing
mentioned Dan
you're
Morgan,
waiting
the
for the
general
hand-up
manager.
guy, right? You're waiting for somebody to go, whoa, 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 that's an awful idea. As long as everybody's like, nah, I get it, then you're just rolling through.
I was like, am I crazy? No, like we're on this. We're on this because it's one of those things. Like everyone has to be on board.
Yes,
Everyone has to be
absolutely. And if there's a dissenter, you look at him and you go, if the tight ends coach is dissenting and they lose the fight, you look at him and go, listen, man, publicly we're all in on this. I don't care what you actually think. You don't think it publicly, which is a tough thing to do. But part of being a coach is rallying the whole team and the coaching staff and getting everyone on the same page. I don't think anyone is having fun with the Panthers today. There's nobody like, finally, we're doing this. I think it's, you understand the depth and breadth of the challenge that you are facing. Let's go back to the call-in line. Heaster Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Little Monday sound-off. We have Eric in Chapel Hill wants to sound off on the Panthers. Eric, thanks for calling in. What do you have for us?
Hey, I called in last year.
Okay.
And you guys told me, you said, what should we do with the Carolina Panthers? And I said, you should trade everybody else away, even Bryce Young. And that's when we first drafted him. That's apparently what we've done so far. We traded everybody else away on the offense and defense, but we still got one piece left, and that's Bryce Young. So.
Oh, wait. So you think they should trade everyone except Bryce or everyone including Bryce away?
Including Bryce. Yep, trade everybody with him going too.
All right, I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Eric. Part of me says that's a little over the top reactionary, little overreaction. But part of me also says if you watch Sunday, who out there are you like we can't trade? Maybe J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn made some plays. I'll give him credit, and I believe that the touchdown he gave up, I think the fumble that he forced the previous play should have been a fumble, and it shouldn't have been overturned.
was close.
So maybe that touchdown he gave up doesn't even happen if the refs handle it the right way.
And then he gets a pick right after that.
And then he got the pick and had just an up and down day, but I think it could have just been an up day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's anyone out there that's obviously like, hey, your job is safe. I do think some of the offensive linemen played well, but there's only so much going on there. Let's jump to Rick in Raleigh. Rick in Raleigh here on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline wants to sound off on Bryce. Rick, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and do your thing.
Hey, guys. Thank you all so much for being a big fan of the show. Just wanted to say, took my family, my wife and 2 kids to the ball game yesterday. I have a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old. I mean, we were excited, of course, but But like after the first quarter, it was kind of like, come on, Bryce, like, you know, you got to do better, especially with that first sack that he got. I mean, my 9-year-old was literally screaming, like, just run. And for Bryce to just kind of just wait for it, you know, I get it, trying to find an open receiver, but it's like, I felt like he had an open lane to run to pick up that first down. But after that first sack, it was kind of like, all right, there you go again. I think they just went downhill after that. And by like, I mean, he just couldn't move. So I think it's the right decision, being that they made a call early on to go to Andy Dalton, the veteran. So hopefully we can get some good football. You know, I'm not saying to accept us losing, but at least just a good product on the field. So that's just kind of my take with that. Unfortunately, it was a bad experience for us as a family, but at least the boys, they enjoyed the Clemson band, so that was a plus for us.
Yeah, as long as they didn't walk out like wanting a J.K. Dobbins jersey, I think that's about all. That's about all you. It's about all you can ask for.
And then we actually ran into Eugene Robinson as well, so that was kind of our highlight of the day yesterday.
All right, appreciate the call, and keep working with the next generation of Panthers fans. Hopefully, it won't be a full generation until they get to see something fun. But thank you for calling in.
Absolutely, thank you.
Rick did bring up that sack. We need to do a biopsy or an autopsy of the sack on third down where Bryce escaped the pocket. That's where I think it's most obvious that his confidence is donezo. This preseason, I was even saying, get out of the pocket more. He seemed to be having more confidence when he's improvising and scrambling than he did in the call it and run it plays that he was just running kind of more traditionally. So he got outside the pocket, and I was like, all right, let's see what he can do. And then it's, I was telling Dennis this earlier, in the Zoom era, right, where everybody's Zooming and FaceTiming, it felt like he froze. Like, hey, are you there?
Controller disconnected.
Can you hear me? No, you're not moving. You're frozen. Like he scrambled out to the left, bought time, flipped his hips, and then just sack. And it's throw it away, throw a 50-50 ball. You know I'm good for a weird movie reference. Have you ever seen the movie Grown Ups?
Oh, yeah.
There's a point where Adam Sandler's kids are like too bougie. He raised them like too L.A. They're too Hollywood. And they're at like a lake house, and he watches his son pick up a rock. And he's like far away, so his son can't see him. And he's like, okay, good. Throw it in the lake.
Throw it at a tree. Throw it at your sister.
Throw it at your brother. And then the kid just drops the ball or drops the rock and walks away. I feel like we all had that moment. Bryce Young escapes out left, and you're like, throw it to a receiver. Throw it to a tight end. Throw it out of bounds. Sack. And he just like, no, come on, man. Gosh. We have time for one more Monday sound-off caller here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. We have Frankie in Concord. Frankie, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and sound off on the Panthers.
Look, I'm a Panthers fan through and through. That's all I've ever known. When I heard that we got Bryce Young, I was like, okay, let's see what happens. I've seen enough. Okay, at some point, at what point do we say, okay, one player's future is not worth the future of the team? And that's where I think we've gotten. And me personally, I think benching him for Andy Dalton is a smart move. And I would like to know, what do y'all think about Jack Plummer and what he could possibly do?
I appreciate the call. We're up against it, so I'll answer him quickly, and unfortunately we'll have to let you go. But thank you for calling. The hard part is once you draft a quarterback that high, their future and your team's future become intertwined. Bailing on Bryce Young, you're starting over. You are back to square one. You're going to have to go find a quarterback. Andy Dalton, for everything he does well, is not that dude. Jack Plummer, I mean, is there a percentage that he's the future guy? It's in the fractions of a percent. Like it's 0.1 of 1%, something along those lines. But it's really this upcoming offseason that you're going to have the first chance to go get your guy. You're starting over. Up in like the Bryce Young Panthers era to me is now over. That's an era. And the only way that era could be salvaged is if you kept him in the game and he turned it around. You kept playing him and he turned it around. Now, like it's donezo. You're going to try to ride out the end of the Bryce Young era with Andy Dalton giving you some semblance of a steady offense and start over this offseason when Dave Canales and Dan Morgan get to choose their guys, right? Which is what every kind of team and player always talks about, right? You got to let them choose their guys because Bryce wasn't theirs. Or kind of was Dan's, but definitely wasn't Dave Canales'. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. Whether you call it a TD, a tutty, taking it to the house, pay dirt, something that the Carolina team hasn't seen very often this year. Whatever you call it, a touchdown matters more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first NFL bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score a touchdown. Well, it's simple for most teams, maybe not Carolina. That's a little bit more difficult. If you're ready to bet on a player to score a touchdown, how about tonight's game? Little Monday action. Saquon minus 190. You're not going to get a huge payoff there. But if you go down a little bit further, somebody like Darnell Mooney plus 330. Maybe somebody like Dallas Goedert, the Philly tight end, plus 225. Kyle Pitts also plus 225. Scored a couple of them in week one. So check them out. It's all happening at DraftKings Sportsbook. Those are just a few of your many, many options. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. And as always, be ready to do a touchdown dance of your own. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD with no spaces at sign up for new customers. And you'll get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. And get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms. We'll take a break. When we come back, starting 5 time, a lot of football to react to, and a big game tonight. Stick around.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
Carolina wins it 47-45 in double overtime.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
Summer is winding down and fall is fast approaching. At the Good Feet store, our arch supports are designed to make any season comfortable by fitting into your favorite seasonal shoes. Stop in your local Good Feet store today or make an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 21st, DPAC. Performing songs from their new album, Weather Vanes. Special guest, Alejandro Escovedo. Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. On sale now at dpacnc.com. Produced by Outback Presents.
99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union are proud to announce the return of the Coastal Credit Union Scholar Athlete of the Month. For more than 20 years, we have honored over 200 student athletes that are making a difference on their team and in their community. If you are a teacher, parent, coach, or guardian, nominate your Scholar Athlete today. We will select one winner a month to be featured on 99.9 The Fan and on WRAL News Plus. To nominate a winner, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Congrats to last year's winners. Emma Penkunas of Holly Springs High School, Connor O'Toole of Athens Drive, Kenzie Smith of Fuquay Varina, Patience Ifadon of South Garner High, Carrie Ellen Bryan of Southern Lee, Carson Parker, Apex Friendship, Jason Howard of Wakefield High School, and Eric Stoll of Green Level. We also want to thank all of our other local schools who nominated a student. Apex Friendship, Jordan Matthews, Northwood, Green Hope High, Willow Springs, Jacksonville High, South Granville, Cleveland High, Riverside, and South Johnston.
This is Creighton Blackwell with Coastal Credit Union, and I would like to offer my sincerest thanks to every school that nominated a student for this year's award. This award is more than a celebration of exceptional athletes. It's also a celebration of the schools and the communities that helped them grow into the incredible leaders that we like to celebrate.
Congratulations to all of our Coastal Credit Union Scholar Athletes of the Month. If you want to nominate a high school athlete, text award to 919-860-5326.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I live and work on both coasts, travel the country, and there's nothing better than Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and half-price appetizers Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. Visit all 5 Triangle locations and ask for their great daily beer specials. And how about this special? Every Sunday, they have $6 Bloody Marys and $6.50 Jamesons. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. It's a flooding threat, a wind threat, isolated tornado threat as we head into the evening and overnight. 69 the low. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy, about a 40% chance for a few showers. The high up to 79.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock, check of your money. Dow Jones is up 228 points today to 41,622. Market update brought to you by Copa Airlines. Fly Copa Airlines from RDU to Latin America and get 2 vacations in one. Enjoy a stopover in Panama for up to 7 days with no extra airfare. Book your Panama stopover today at copa.com. That's COPA.com. This hour of the drive brought to you by DPAC. It's Jason Isbell and the 400 unit Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 21st at DPAC. Tickets on sale at dpacnc.com, dpacnc.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting 5. And as always, we start with number 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 is Monday Night Football tonight. Falcons, Eagles.
You can hear that on the Fan.
You can hear it right here, 99.9 The Fan. Here's a 100% true statement. If the Eagles beat the Falcons,
go on.
The Panthers are not alone and dead last in the division.
It's a good point.
Right? Scoring differential, eye test, quarterbacks benched. None of that applies to standings. It's just wins and losses.
Mm-hmm.
Falcons are 0-1. So if they lose to the Eagles, they'll be 0-2. Same as the Panthers.
Let's go. So you're telling me there's a chance?
I am telling you there is a chance. Actually, maybe even a likelihood. I would assume the Eagles are favored in that, which, as they should be.
I believe no A.J. Brown for the Eagles tonight, though.
True. I know that from a fantasy perspective. No A.J. Brown, which means probably more Devontae Smith and even more Saquon Barkley.
There you go.
The other thing I want everybody to watch, Kirk Cousins' mobility. Week 1 was one of those weeks where I was watching him going, that guy's still hurt. Does everyone else see? I mean, I know he's not saying ow when he's not calling for trainers, but he's definitely not still or definitely not healthy, and he's still a little banged up. And now he's on national television with a pretty solid Eagles defense coming after him. So just pay attention to that. And just know that Michael Penix Jr. is waiting. And he was a top, 11 pick? He's waiting.
8th pick, right?
8th pick. Who's the 11th was
Bo Nix was 12.
Yeah, somewhere in there. So many quarterbacks drafted near the top. It's hard to keep track. But yeah, tonight, Falcons, Eagles, a lot of stars. It makes sense that these guys are picked to get the nationally televised game. But yes, it does apply to the Panthers simply because the Falcons are in their division.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 5. Let's jump to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4 all together.
NC State wins 30-20 over Louisiana Tech. It was not pretty.
No, far from it.
17-6 deficit at halftime. They stormed back to win 30-20 in the second half. But along the way, they lost their quarterback. Grayson McCall goes down for an injury. He is day-to-day, but he will not be starting this upcoming week at Clemson. Dave Doran immediately after the game talked about C.J. Bailey, their true freshman backup quarterback's performance, jumping in reserve duty.
I think it's just poise, I mean, he just went out there and played the game, whether he was throwing the football or scrambling, throwing it away, rushing for some tough yards at times to extend the chains. Did a really good job just managing it and playing fast, and he looked really poised. So that was good to see.
He was poised. I actually think that's a great way to describe it. And if there is something to be said, and I wish I knew how to coach this, because I would be the highest in-demand quarterbacks coach in the country, and like Kirby Smart and Ohio Ryan Day would be fighting over my services. I wish you could teach quarterbacks that poise thing, to just stay calm and confident when things aren't looking good or when you're put in an adverse situation. But in all my experience of watching football, it's completely and totally uncoachable. And it's actually hard to evaluate meeting somebody if they have it until you see them in those situations. C.J. Bailey started his reserve duty of Grayson McCall with a 1-for-3 with an interception streak. 1 completion out of 3 attempts and an interception. Came back, completed his next 7. If that is an indication that he has that poise thing that coach was talking about there, it's going to be a really, really good career for C.J. Bailey. Dave Doran today, talking to the media, announced that C.J. Bailey is going to start against Clemson.
Yeah, C.J. will start the game. And it's his team. And like I said, we'll take it one day at a time with Grayson. And when he's ready to play, he'll be back. And, it's all hands on deck.
It's all hands on deck to make C.J. Bailey comfortable. And you talk about in an adverse situation, in a tremendously uncomfortable situation. C.J. Bailey is a true freshman. 6'6". I think they have him listed a little over 200, like 210. And that's after he put on a boatload of weight since getting on campus last spring. This guy was a beanpole in spring practice.
Kind of lanky.
6'6" and rail thin. So he's put on some weight, but that's just to show how young this guy is. And his first start as an college football quarterback at Clemson in Death Valley. That's not that. Talk about wanting an on-ramp. You talk about wanting a tune-up. There's none of that. I guess his tune-up was the second half against Louisiana Tech, where he had to storm back from a 17-6 halftime deficit. But that's what NC State season is about now. Figuring out the quarterbacks and getting whoever's playing quarterback, whether it's Grayson McCall once he gets healthy or C.J. Bailey moving forward, to a point where they can take advantage of the weapons. Because make no mistake about it, not only is it about this season, it's about wanting these guys to come back next season. There's portal looming for some very talented players at NC State. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3. University of North Carolina football beat NC Central 45-10. They, and I've said this earlier, they seem incapable of playing just a normal game. These are the kind of games, right? They're 3-0, by the way. So I'm not saying this is a huge negative. I'm just saying this as a observation. These games take a long time to explain. Like if you're a player and you're on UNC and then maybe your parents came to the game, so you're going out to dinner after, right? Hey, let's go grab some food. And you go to a nice, establishment somewhere out there in Chapel Hill, and your parents go, gosh, so what happened? Tell us. Pretty soon you're getting dessert. You're maybe ordering seconds. You're sitting around, getting coffee afterwards, and you still haven't stopped explaining what happened in the game. It just keeps on like it's, the quarterback thing, we don't really know what was going on there. It was Connor Harrell, but then for whatever it was, like the third drive, they went to Jacoby, and we didn't know if they were going back to Connor Harrell, but they stayed with Jacoby Criswell the entirety of the game, and we ended up rolling, and obviously Omarion Hampton had it cooking, and our receivers really didn't get many opportunities to make plays, but our tight ends, they played well, both Nesbitt and Copenhaver, and we haven't even gotten to the defense yet. You go through each one of their games, it's a chapter book. When you play NC Central, no disrespect to NC Central, I keep saying that, very good program. UNC is hoping for, you know what, we ran all over them, got some things done in the past game, defense played well, won by a bunch. But it's never that soon. It was never that soon. It was never that quick. It was never that easy. And now Mac Brown, their head coach, earlier today is telling us that the plan is to play both quarterbacks moving forward, Connor Harrell, Jacoby Criswell, which tells me they just played 3 games, won them all, lived a life in each of them, and you're right back to where you started. A week before UNC's opener, it was 2 different quarterbacks, but we heard the same darn thing. It was Max Johnson, it was Connor Harrell, and the talk was, we have a plan for both. They're both going to play in every game moving forward. This is what we're going to do. Max Johnson got hurt. Connor Harrell played 1 game by himself, played 1 game getting benched for Jacoby Criswell, and now Mac Brown is right back where he started. Here's the audio from today. Mac Brown talking to the media about the plan being to play both quarterbacks.
If you look at Jacoby, he's a lot like Max, and Connor's just different than they are. So we'll still continue to do the same stuff. Jacoby's just played very little. I think he threw 6 balls here or something while he was here before, and didn't play much at Arkansas. So he's just so inexperienced. And Connor's started 3 games now, only 2 at home. So we're very, very inexperienced at quarterback. We've just got to do a great job of coaching those 2 young guys and build on what they do best.
I'm going to agree with something that Mac Brown said there, and then I'm going to disagree with how they're reacting moving forward. And by the way, yes, just before you get it, he's forgotten more. He's got the national championship. He's experienced. Jacoby Criswell and Connor Harrell are both wildly inexperienced. Jacoby Criswell, while being in college football for 4 years before this, he did sit behind, I believe – no, okay. He sat behind Drake May. There was probably a year where he sat behind Sam Howell also, if I'm doing my math correctly here. And then last year at Arkansas, he didn't end up playing much. So he's wildly inexperienced. Connor Harrell has, now 3 career starts, including last year's bowl game. So he's wildly inexperienced. You may disagree with this, but I think for an inexperienced quarterback, the most important thing he needs is every single practice rep. You need to be able to show him every scout team look during practice. You need to be able to get him every rep with every play in the game plan during practice. You can't have 2 quarterbacks do that. It is hard enough to have 1 inexperienced quarterback ready to play on game day. It is darn near impossible to have 2 inexperienced quarterbacks ready to play on game day. Because of their lack of experience, I think it's even more you should play just 1. That's my argument. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the 2 of us.
Duke wins. Duke wins against UConn. They were behind. They were ahead early. Then they were behind. Then they came back to win 26-21. I've talked about Duke kind of being our cornerstone, meaning they've been the most consistent, maybe not the best, but the most consistent team we've seen this year out of the teams we cover here in the Triangle, Wake Forest, the Panthers, all relative, right? They've been the most consistent. But I'm going to take it one step further and say this. most surprising, maybe. I think I came in with all over the place range of expectations for Duke. And the fact that they so quickly have an identity is very surprising for me. But I'm also gonna go here. They're learning to win. They're like, that is a culture thing. You hear coaches talk about it. The only way to learn how to win games is to do it. Be in close games. Their games are not blowouts. Even the Elon game was probably a little closer than they would have wanted. Granted, I think the final score was like 27-3, something along those lines. They're learning how to be in the fourth quarter of a tight game and not shoot themselves in the foot and find ways to win and make the necessary big field goals and come up with the big plays to your best players, right? Big players make big plays in big-time moments. Jordan Moore has done that a few times. Malik Murphy has done that a few times. And now that teams are adjusting to that, maybe a running game gets going a little bit. I think Duke's learning the things you should be learning early in the season. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. That's what the non-conference games are for. The non-conference games are for figuring out who you are, establishing which players on your team are the ones you're going to lean on in big moments, and then getting a little bit of familiarity with playing in every situation. I want to stop short of acting like, hey, they're 3-0, now they're going to be a top 25 team, and they're going to be hosting game day in 4 weeks or whatever it was last year. But overwhelmingly happy with what Manny Diaz has brought to the Duke Blue Devils through his first 3 games. And by the way, he's embracing it. He's running around high-fiving Duke fans, and after the game, they're having a heck of a time in the locker room post win, and their social media is doing a good job of showing us all of it. Give Malik Murphy credit. In week 1, what did it look like? Like this thing was going to be Malik Murphy and whatever else he's maybe Jordan Moore, but there wasn't a lot else really impressive. Now there's Star Thomas and there's Brown, the young wide receiver, and there's obviously still more, but Malik Murphy, I believe, is kind of dragging some guys up a level, and that's what the mark of a good quarterback.
Dude's got a cannon.
And there's that too.
Dude's got an absolute cannon. But gosh, if he has a run game to complement, if that's consistent with Star Thomas, or if it's DeQuez Moore when he comes back, if that run game is consistently a threat, that opens up everything for that offense.
That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go one!
Panthers lose. You know what? Actually, I don't think we're talking enough about today.
What's that?
The game that the Panthers lost. Right? Earlier today, Bryce Young was benched. If you're just tuning in, there's the breaking news of the day. Bryce Young benched, Andy Dalton, quarterback 1 moving forward. And that's dominated the conversation in so many ways that we haven't talked enough about the game they lost over the weekend.
Yeah, it was not easy being there. Even sitting in the press box, it's like, ooh, this is...
They lost to the Chargers 26-3. Not great, Bob. They lost to the Chargers 26-3. That makes it, I believe, something along the lines of like 73-13 through the first 2 weeks. I did math on air. I think I might have actually nailed that one. Stuck the landing. Here's where I go with this. Bryce Young was part of the problem.
Yes.
He was not the entire problem. As bad as Bryce Young has been, he's not the one that was tasked with guarding Quentin Johnston, who, by the way, everyone through Quentin Johnston's career, he was a first-round pick last year, has done a pretty good job of bottling up Quentin Johnston. He has been a underwhelming player since then. He's not the one that was tasked with keeping him out of the end zone. He scored twice. He's not the one tasked with tackling J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins ran all over the place. He's not the one tasked with opening up holes in the run game, which actually I think the Panthers did halfway decent. But he's not the one tasked with making sure they stay committed to the run game. They're a big old slice of blame pie that I talk about for Bryce Young.
Oh, yeah.
But there were slices for a lot of other people.
Defense gave up over 200 yards rushing.
That's an issue. That's a problem. I saw linebackers miss tackles. Xavier Woods on the J.K. Dobbins touchdown run just getting kind of weakly stiff-armed at the 6-yard line around there, whatever it was, that's unacceptable. Unacceptable would be the right way to say that. There's not great offensive play calling. I know Adam Gold talked about it because I saw him all over his Twitter talking about it leading up to or during the game. You had a 12-yard first down run, which I believe was the first down of the game, like 4 minutes left in the second quarter, something like that.
It was on their fourth drive because they went 3 and out on each of their first 3.
You get a 12-yard run. The next play, which ended up being the
first 4 drives,
which ended up being the interception. The next play, empty backfield. What in the heck is that decision? You're supposed to be run first, build from the run. You finally have a successful run play. You don't even use the run as like play action. You don't even use the threat of the run to open up the pass. You take your running back out of the backfield and say, no. We got one good run play. Now we're the run and gun air Mike Leach Texas Tech teams of Graham Harrell's years with Michael Crabtree. What are you doing? As bad as Bryce Young is, and the interception was really bad, and it looked similar to his interception to start the season last week, and like that's a problem. He was part of it. The play call is just as atrocious. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN, talking about nothing looking good for Bryce Young.
I'm shocked how much struggle Bryce is going through. I know it's not all him, but it's a tough watch. Nothing looks good right now. I think his feet are a mess. His feel is a mess. I think his obviously confidence is completely shot. I thought he would look significantly better than he has. And again, I've said and tried to remain disciplined this season. I'm not going to judge a ton because I still don't believe it's a great situation. But not to see marginal improvement is concerning.
Not to see marginal improvement is concerning. Was there marginal improvement really anywhere? Was there any position group that looked significantly better in week 2 than in week 1? I mean, if then Dennis is literally squinting his eyes and looking into the distance.
O-line was a little better.
All right, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think as they gel, they probably will play better.
I mean, the run game was better overall. You averaged 6 yards a carry.
I think it was 5, but you're right. On an extremely small sample size for somebody that runs for 5 yards a carry. I used to say this: if someone is shooting 43% from 3, they should just keep shooting until they shoot 40% from 3. You're not shooting enough if you're shooting 43. If you're averaging 5 yards a carry, just keep running the ball until you average 4 yards a carry, because 5 is almost like, if you can do that on high volume, just keep going.
I mean, it was 18 carries for 90 yards as a team.
The defense struggled. I don't think the Chargers offense is built to score in the way the Saints scored in week 1 and in week 2 against Dallas. But they did everything they wanted to do. They controlled the game. Herbert took some hits, but kept standing up. There is the Bryce Young conversation. We've had that in spades today. There is the Bryce Young conversation. There's also the Panthers conversation. We can blame the 13 points scored, which is the lowest in Panthers history through 2 games. We can blame the 13 points scored on Bryce Young. The 73 points allowed, that can't all be on Bryce Young, which is also, by the way, the most through 2 games in franchise history. So, yes, if you're doing the math and you just heard what I said, they have the worst offense and the worst defense in franchise history through 2 games. Not how you drew it up. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we grab our contestants for a rousing edition of the Numbers Game, here's Dennis Cox.
Great news for you homeowners out there. Mortgage rates are tanking. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. My friends at Loan Pronto have rates that start with a 4. This is the best rate in year, folks. And listen, if your current rate, if it's over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto has locked in folks recently at 4.99% APR. Now, whether you got your loan last week, last month, or even last year,
it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're already in process with another lender, stop now, give Loan Pronto a call, and make sure you ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing cost in a matter of days with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9. The Fan needs some numbers game contestants, 2 of them to be exact. And whoever wins out of those 2 will win a $25 gift card to Amedio's Italian Restaurant. Make sure to pick up. Nice. Make sure to pick up your tailgate specials before the game at Amedio's Italian Restaurant, located at 3905 Western Boulevard. You can visit AmediosRestaurant.com to learn more. We need a pair of contestants. Call in right now if you want to play. 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
Look, I know the contract's good. It gives the Hurricanes an additional $500,000 more per year in cap space. But the best part about this deal is that Seth's here for the next 8 years. And if all goes well, he'll be here for the following 8 years as well, because he's headed to market again when he's just 30, and he should be at the height of his powers. Great deal for both sides, and we are lucky to have Jarvie in town.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Upgrade your home with Baker Home Exteriors and take advantage of our financing options. We offer 0% interest for 12 months, same as cash financing. Our financing plans also cover siding and window replacements, making those big projects more manageable. Don't just imagine how your home could look. Use our interactive visualizer tool at bakerroofing.com to see your home's potential and get started on a worry-free home upgrade experience.
It's truck season at Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. Get yourself a brand new 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500 with a combined discount of up to 15% off. Or just 5.9% interest for 84 months with a 9% combined discount when you trade in a 2013 or newer vehicle. See dealer for discounts and details. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford. Visit in person today or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
Just when you thought the world's largest beer garden couldn't get any better, it's game on at the Raleigh Beer Garden. Hop Shots Mini Golf, their new 18-hole miniature golf course, is now open to all ages. Putt away and enjoy foosball, ping pong, and cornhole, plus all the mouth-watering food and refreshing beverages you already love at the Raleigh Beer Garden. Compete with friends, family, celebrate a special occasion, or have your next event at Hop Shots Mini Golf at the Raleigh Beer Garden, 614 Glenwood Avenue.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2024, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-652-1714. That's 800-652-1714. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-652-1714 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary. Paid for by AMD Financial.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Time for the numbers game. $25 gift card to Emilio's Italian Restaurant on the line for Jose in Durham and Clay in Willow Spring. We'll start with Jose in Durham for our question to see who goes first. We'll pick our favorite answer. Jose in Durham, what was the highlight of this past weekend for you? But as always, we're a sports show, so you have to keep it sports related. What was the sports highlight of this past weekend for you?
Well, I think Arch Manning putting on a display down there in Austin, Texas this weekend was the highlight for me.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand that first part. Oh, it was Arch Manning. All right, Arch Manning,
Yeah.
That's what you were saying. Do you know that Arch Manning's GPS time is higher than anything registered than Marvin Harrison Jr. this year thus far? I'm just saying. That Manning might have some wheels that we haven't seen on other Mannings. Clay and Willow Spring, we go to you for the question. What was the sports highlight of this past weekend for you?
I got to take my two boys to their first NC State football game.
That's pretty darn good. We'll see. We'll see if it gets the win. Dennis, you're nodding. I assume I know where you're going.
Keeping it local, something family related. I got to go with Clay on this one.
All right. I'm sure the full family was a little nervous at halftime, but by the end of the game, it was a win. So
there you go.
Their first game was a W for the Wolfpack. Clay, you get to go first. Jose, don't worry. You'll have your chance. Just go ahead and sit on the line. You'll go second. Clay, you ready to pick a category?
Yes.
All right. The categories are NFL, we threw a pass, but not quarterbacks. So these are all players that have registered a pass in the NFL, but are not listed as quarterbacks. We have NFL octopus scores, players that scored a touchdown and then immediately scored the ensuing 2-point conversion for 8 points. NBA current players only or NHL Canes and Whalers only?
Let's go NFL Octopus.
All right, NFL octopus scores, players that scored a touchdown and the immediately ensuing 2-point conversion. I'll give you the player and the team. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Deshaun Watson, Cleveland Browns.
9.
Incorrect. Steve Smith, Carolina Panthers.
89.
Correct. Travis Etienne, Jacksonville Jaguars.
1.
Correct. Randall Cobb, Green Bay Packers.
10.
Incorrect. Deshaun Watson, Cleveland Browns.
1.
Incorrect. Randall Cobb, Green Bay Packers.
18.
Correct. Alshon Jeffrey, Philadelphia Eagles.
81.
Incorrect. Deshaun Watson, Cleveland Browns.
4.
Correct. Alshon Jeffrey, Philadelphia Eagles.
18.
Incorrect. Alshon Jeffrey. Oh. What did you say after the buzzer?
17.
It was after the buzzer, so I can't give you credit for it, but 17 was right. You were, I would say, half a second away from a perfect score. Deshaun Watson, number 4, Steve Smith, 89, Travis Etienne, number 1, Randall Cobb, 18, Alshon Jeffrey, 17 was the number we were looking for. But still, 4 is a very good score. I'm acting disappointed just because I get so excited about perfect scores, but 4 is very solid. Go ahead and sit on the line. We'll see if it holds up. That brings us to Jose in Durham. Jose, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL, we threw a pass, but not quarterbacks. NBA, current players only, or NHL, Canes and Whalers only?
I'll take QBs, not QBs.
Not
How about
QBs.
that?
All right. These are players that have been registered with a pass attempt that were not listed as quarterbacks. I will give you the player and the team. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it, and you need a perfect score for the win. You need all 5. Any questions before we get started?
Ready to roll.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Tiki Barber, New York Giants.
21.
Correct. Deebo Samuel, San Francisco 49ers.
19.
Correct. Willie Parker, Pittsburgh Steelers.
39.
Correct. Pat McAfee, Indianapolis Colts.
9.
Incorrect. Steven Jackson, St. Louis Rams.
39.
Correct. Pat McAfee, Indianapolis Colts.
Pass.
That's all we got. Pat McAfee, Indianapolis Colts.
11.
Incorrect. Pat McAfee, Indianapolis Colts.
10.
Incorrect. Pat McAfee, Indianapolis Colts.
8.
Incorrect. Pat McAfee. Incorrect. Pat McAfee. Incorrect. Pat McAfee.
5. 4.
Oh. We were looking for number 1. You would have gotten there eventually. You needed about 3 more seconds for us to go all the way through the entire 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 all the way down. That is a brutal loss for you because 4 by way of tie goes to who goes first. So despite the fact that you were just seconds away from a perfect score, you are not the winner. But hopefully you had some fun playing.
Definitely, man. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much, Jose.
I got a little trigger happy there.
Yeah, you did hear a buzzer or a bell in there as if
like,
there was a win.
No. That's on me.
I was like, no. Clay and Willow Spring, you are the winner. Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
That was a well-fought, well-played numbers game. And you are the champion, so you get the Emilio's gift card. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
All right, go ahead and sit on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you to make sure you get your prize, which is a $25 Emilio's Italian Restaurant gift card. Make sure to pick up your tailgate specials before the game at Emilio's Italian Restaurant, located at 3905 Western Boulevard. Visit emiliosrestaurant.com to learn more.
It's a good one to start the week.
That got my adrenaline.
A great one to start the week.
Got my adrenaline going. Would have liked to have seen one of them complete it, but I do feel like they maximized their potential there. They did everything they could. That wasn't like a smooth, you get 4 in the first 9 seconds, then we have 21 seconds of just brutal on the final one. They gave the full effort all the way up. So solid showing for both parties. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Capital Financial Advisory Group. Here's the deal, right? I'm a big fan of analogies. If you listen to the show, I love a movie reference. I love we all been in this situation where, and Capital Financial Advisory Group can do the same for you. When Coach Pete talks to me about retirement income or about saving for retirement, he oftentimes puts it into a football analogy, which is speaking my language. He talks about how the offense needs to do their job. They need to march the ball down the field, right? You need to make gains. While the special teams and defense in a lot of ways are playing the field position game, right? Making sure you don't get backed up too far, making sure you don't lose all those gains you're making. That's kind of the deal here for retirement, right? You want your money to grow as much as possible. You want to make those gains while also being protected and making sure that your income is there not just at retirement, but all the way through retirement. That's what they do at Capital Financial Advisory Group. That's why you should give them a call, right? It would be great to have an income that didn't depend on the stock market success for your success, right? That's protecting your floor, but also a plan that is designed to maximize your lifetime income. That's making sure you're pushing the ball down the field and picking up chunk plays. They do it both. It'd be great to have all of that, and you can. All you have to do is give them a call, 800-691-3215. That's 800-691-3215. Call them right now and say you heard about it here from me, Tim, on 99.9 The Fan, and not only will you get the complete and total customized retirement plan, you'll also get 7 Baby Steps, Coach Pete's box set, for free. But you have to let them know you heard about it here from me, Tim. The number to call, 800-691-3215. Or you can just text my name, Tim, T-I-M, to 600-700. That's Tim to 600-700. Make sure they know you heard about it here. We're going to take a break. When we come back, heck, we'll open up the phone lines one more time for the sound off of Monday. We call it Monday Sound Off. So if you have some thoughts you want to get in, you want to hear them on the air, you want us to react, 919-860-5326. It's your last chance for Monday Sound Off. 919-860-5326. And we'll put a bow on the weekend. The recap of the weekend coming up next. Stick around. More of The Drive next.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
I am shocked that Dave Canales and the Panthers are benching Bryce Young. All offseason, we heard from Dave Canales that Bryce Young was a big reason he took the job. 2 games in, he's all the way out. I don't see how you go back from this. This isn't about building up Bryce Young's confidence in the background. This is about moving on and finding another quarterback for the future.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's Bo time.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Have you heard of plantar fasciitis? Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton with the Good Feet Store. Imagine jumping off the back of a pickup truck onto some rocks. That's what it felt like when I was suffering from plantar fasciitis. After searching and trying so many other products, I finally found relief with Good Feet Arch Supports, and they still keep me running today. Now I get to help others who are struggling with plantar fasciitis to live their life pain-free. Here's another customer sharing their Good Feet story.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain. It just hurts all the time. It feels like your foot is squeezing on itself. When I drove past the Good Feet store, I thought, I'm just gonna stop in. They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support that were personally fitted just for me. Then it was like, okay, this is something special. These make a difference.
The Good Feet store is in Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Fayetteville, and other locations across North Carolina. Visit goodfeet.com to book your appointment today, or just stop by the store nearest you.
Every season can be punishing for your roof. Mother Nature is a fierce opponent that doesn't take a break, which is why you need RoofWorks on your building maintenance team. Hi, this is Holly from RoofWorks. We specialize in keeping your commercial roof in great condition no matter what the issue may be. We offer roof inspections, roof repairs, and if needed, a full roof replacement. We help determine if there's a problem with your roof and advise you on the most cost-effective way to handle it. Contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts offers more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also test your battery, install your new wiper blades, and even diagnose your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan for free. For the best service, advice, auto parts, and accessories, stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Whispering Pines on Highway 22 next to Domino's.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you can watch every game, every Sunday, all in one place. Which means you can watch the Dolphins, and the Broncos, and the Lions, and the Cowboys, and the Jets. Or whoever you're rooting for, all in your living room. But not literally, of course. That would be dangerous. Watch every game, every Sunday with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. Sign up at youtube.com/NFLST. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
This hour of the drive brought to you by DPAC. It's Jason Isbell and the 400 unit Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 21st at DPAC. Tickets on sale now at dpacnc.com. Again, dpacnc.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So Dennis just told me in my headphones here, this is some kind of like a breakup song, Watching Your Ex.
Yeah, this is going to be Bryce Young when he actually sees the offense out there performing. I mean, good for you.
You want to talk about killing someone's confidence? Have the Panthers score 35 in Andy Dalton's first game.
I mean, they did put up over 300 yards last year in the one game that Andy Dalton played. And I think they put up over 30 points.
It was on the West Coast. It was at Seattle. Now they're going back to the West Coast at Vegas.
Ankle injury.
You really want to mess. You really want to mess with Bryce's confidence. Watch Andy Dalton go out there and be NFC Player of the Week, the Air and Ground Player of the Week.
I mean, to quote the song, good for you. You're doing great out there without me, baby. God, I wish I could do that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to build up Andy Dalton as John Elway.
Oh, no. Let's call it what it is.
He's a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
But we'll see how the offense runs under him. Again, it's a Monday sound off. This is your last chance to get your thoughts on the air for the week for the most part. Heathrow Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Brad in Raleigh, you are next up on our sound off. What do you want to sound off about?
That's it.
What was that?
I'm sorry, what was that? Hey, how you doing today?
Hey, we're doing well. You're on the air.
Oh, sorry.
Was that a hang up there? Oh, there you are.
No. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. Okay, I gotta sound out on David Tepper real quick in the Panthers.
Let's hear it.
Because, I think he bought the team in 2018, if I'm not... I think he bought the team in, 2018, and like I said, it's just been trash ever since. It's been, 6 head coaches since 2018. Like I said, just bad, management all across the board and everything like that. I've been staying in Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27, 28 years, and it just has never been as bad as it is right now. So I just want to sound off on him because I don't think he's a great owner, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Steve Wilks because that was possibly the greatest thing he ever did in 2022, and he didn't even bring him back. So that was just crazy. That was terrible. And brought in Frank Reich in, and like I said, that was just terrible. So like I said, I just had to sound off on that because just being a North Carolina native my whole life, like I said, it's disappointing. It just sucks.
I appreciate the call. Are you ordering food right now?
I may have been leaving work, and Bojangles was, on the docket. I didn't expect to get on the air like that, so I had to get my 4-piece Supreme. I'm sorry.
No, I was just curious. I was curious what was on the menu. Appreciate the call.
What are the sides here? What are the sides we're working with here? I got to know this.
I got to get the seasoned fries. With the Dr. Pepper light ice, I got to keep it basic. I'm simple, okay? Give me my seasoned fries. I'm good.
Okay, biscuit, side of Pintos maybe, no?
Oh, okay, yeah, no. Give me the macaroni and cheese, though.
Fair,
I like the
respect.
mac and cheese, and pinto beans not bad, but give me some mac if I don't like the fries.
All right, Brad. Now that we've lived vicariously through you and gotten our fast food fix, we appreciate you for calling anytime, all right?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Let's go to Joe in Raleigh. He's on the Heathrow Automotive Group hotline. He wants to talk the ECU app game or something along those lines. We haven't, because there's a lot going on, haven't had much time to touch on that one. Joe, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I just want to sound off on John Gilbert and Mike Houston, basically the entire ECU athletics department, and how ever since we got rid of Ruffin McNeil, we've been wallowing in the dregs of college athletics. And it's just, the guy goes 2-10 last year. He's 0-6 against in-state FBS teams. We bring him back like something's going to change, and he goes and he loses another important in-state game in a time in college athletics where, winning against teams like App State, and winning against other what you would call upper-tier group of 5 teams becomes more important than ever when getting scouted out for, maybe a bump up in a conference or something like that. Who knows what's going to happen next realignment. And Mike Houston can't coach to save his life. I mean, I'm sitting there in the stands, and I'm just watching, and I'm like, good Lord, man. I could go out there and do better than that. I could assemble a group of guys I went to high school with, and we could do better than that.
All right,
granted,
I
went to high school at J.H. Rose in the early 2000s. We won back-to-back-to-back state championships.
Oh, just a state champ talking to us right now.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call. I'm actually gonna once Dennis gets off the phone here, he's talking with someone else. I'm gonna turn it over to him because, like you said, in the stands, you were watching and talking. Dennis was boots on the ground for the ECU App State game. So, was it as rough as the callers making it out to be for the Pirates?
I will say between the 20s, the ECU offense, because they play with a lot of tempo, they're quick to the line of scrimmage. Let's go. Let's move the thing. They moved the ball between the 20s just fine. It's when they got to the red zone is when things really came to a screeching halt. And for me, honestly, both teams I felt like were like that to an extent. But in that game specifically, that's what I noticed. And it was kind of a stark reminder. And I was thinking, I was like, man, the really good teams versus great teams, the ones that finish in the red zone are the ones that separate themselves. That's really it. And even defensively as well. You can move between the 20s, but can you get stops in the red zone and force field goals? I mean, ECU had a 16-0 lead. I know they missed a PAT, and they also missed a field goal during that game as well, but they were in command and they were in control. And App State just chipped away. And, I mean, there's even moments as well in the fourth quarter. ECU forced a fumble, had the ball. They were moving down the field, one-possession game. They throw an interception. Then they had an interception themselves go through their hands, ECU did, that went right into the hands of an app receiver that pretty much sealed it.
Here's and I just brought up their stats because I wanted to see if, sometimes the eye test and the dregs don't always add up to like what you're seeing. Jake Garcia right now leads FBS in interceptions.
Yeah.
The ECU quarterback has thrown 8 interceptions through 3 games. That's according to Pro Football Reference, leading all of football bowl subdivision teams. It's going to be hard to. I mean, and I believe they're 2-1, right? So, they're 2-1.
They are, and they easily could be 3-0.
So it's you clean up some of the turnovers, and maybe it's a whole different beast. I hear you because Mike Houston. I mean, last year what was it 2-10, and that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
They won a bowl game the year before that.
Yeah,
so
they won
2 years ago.
8-5. Just in 2022, they won 8-5.
Birmingham Bowl. So
maybe
the caller was a little hard on him, but
Patience has run a bit thin out there.
2-10 season, rightfully so, maybe deserves a little hard on him. Isaiah in Wake Forest, you'll be our final caller on a Monday sound off. So please finish this one with a strong take. Isaiah in Wake Forest, what do you have for us?
I just wanted to say thanks for taking my call. By the way,
of course.
I think the Panthers should have kept Steve Wilks. I think they should have never given him away. He was the best thing they've had in the past at least 5 years. They should have never given him up. Even though they traded Christian McCaffrey that season, Donta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard both performed really, really well that season. Their defense was really well, and that was the closest they've been to making the playoffs. They had a really bad division that year, and they were 1 game behind the Buccaneers, and they lost to them in Week 16, and that's why they didn't make the playoffs. And then they just trade him away, and they're like, we don't need him. Then they pick up Frank Reich, and he did not do well. He made very poor choices along with their GM, and traded DJ Moore and drafted Bryce Young. And, I think they should have kept Steve Wilks.
I appreciate the call. That is one of those – I think pretty soon will be a universally approved take.
Oh, that's been there.
It's been I think true Panthers fans use that as like a litmus test. Hey, how awesome was Steve Wilks? And if you're like, I know, then they're like, all right, cool, you can come sit at our table. We trust you. If you're like Steve Wilks, good play, then it's like, all right, you're not in the trenches with us.
By the way, the last Panthers coach to have a road win,
Steve Wilks.
Steve Wilks.
There's been many wins, period, since Steve Wilks.
Well, there's that, too.
Last coach to have a lead in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Steve Wilks.
Yeah.
Because Frank Reich didn't, and they darn sure haven't this year yet. Here's the thing, though. You can move on from Steve Wilks and keep the parts that worked. He pounded the run. Run the darn ball. Dave Canales can do that. Steve Wilks doesn't have a patent, a copyright on running the football and trying to be a ball possession offense and win with your defense. You can do that even if you are, a young offensive guru-minded head coach. Or Frank Reich last year could have done it too. That's going to do it for us here at The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. It was fun interacting with all of you on Monday Sound Off. Do it again next Monday. Sounds good. We'll also have our normal show tomorrow at 3. But coming up right now, Panther Talk. Anish Shroff, the play-by-play guy for the Panthers, joined by the head coach. They have plenty to talk about if you want to hear it straight from people inside that facility. Stick around. It's coming up next here on 99.9 The Fan. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. We put out a bunch of content, podcasts, everything else, and we want you to be a part of that community. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Until tomorrow, try to relax. Try to enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk. Panthers Playbook, the paw print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
The snap, handoff, Chuba Hubbard, big hole across the middle, and Hubbard cyclones across the 40 to the 41. It's a gain of 11. It's Chuba's longest rush of the season, the Panthers' longest running play of the season.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
It's G.